Ecological collapse. Corporate fascism. Corporate journalism. Police brutality. Voter suppression. Austerity economics. Educate the masses. Rampant homophobia.
We got our first caller. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Hey,
You
it is
from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. I'm not, I forgot to put my volume up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. A little bit of a different show today because, like I mentioned, if you caught me last week on one of the many streams I do, I will be going away for a couple of days this week into early next week. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a stream this week for you all. And being that, I had things to do to get ready, I thought what would be fun, and especially how last week's episode went with all the phone calls, I thought it'd be fun to do an extended sort of call-in show because I never get enough time for calls. Usually I end up taking 3-4 calls maybe, and each of those calls go on for a long time. We talk about a lot of stuff, but then 20 people are trying to call in at the end of the day, and I just can't get to everybody. So phone lines are open. We'll talk on Skype at Doomed Live. And just in case you didn't hear, I won't be on Majority Report or Leftist Mafia on Thursday because I will be away. A family trip, an event, family thing, a wedding. I will not be doing a regularly scheduled stream early next week. But you get a stream this week, which is right now, and then next week I'll be back for Majority Report and for Leftist Mafia. So, you'll miss me. There'll be a stream or two that won't happen because I have to go away. But there won't be a single week that goes by without you hearing from me. So that's the consolation prize, right? Let's go to the phones. People are calling in. I got a lot to talk about. So let's do this. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt.
Hello?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, hey, how you doing? Is this Tokyo
Good.
Hans?
Yes, it is me. Hold on.
I'm assuming based on your headwear, you want me to pull you up on the screen.
Yes, please. So,
All right.
made a new hat.
Can you move your video down a little bit? Your camera just down just a little bit. There we go. Number one Binder bro. I appreciate it. I like the font. I like the scratchy, cut together like magazine serial killer-esque font.
Yes. Specifically for you. But anyway, just wanted to brag real quick, being the #1 fan, to the first person to become a member on YouTube subscriptions.
That's right. You were, and that's a great time to plug, by the way.
Yes.
YouTube subscriptions are now open. I had a lot of people request them. For getting more than 30 subscribers by the end of this month, which is today. You all helped me get an extra couple $100 from YouTube. They had like an incentive program because they want people to use the feature, obviously. And so I want to thank you all once again. And you know what? Right when we get off, because I don't want to do this during your time, I'm gonna.
Do it. Go.
Oh, okay, fine. Let's thank every single YouTube subscriber. If you're on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/MattBinder, it takes a second to join. I think you just have to click the join button, which you should see on your screen either below the video or at the upper right hand side of the channel page. But I also see all of your names, and so let me thank all of you. Hold on, let me pull up the membership subscription page. This should be all people. Here we go. Let's do this. Wow, I started it less than a month ago. Cool. And already we have 106 memberships. Thank you all so much. Wow. JR, Canadian Bacon, Rebecca Emily Viper, Nat A, The Dark Canuck, Iskavimi Garga, Riha, Scout Hunter, the whole name's not here, Space, I'm going to quickly see if I can open up your YouTube channel, Scout Hunter Spaceman, Dusty Den, Mutiny, Laura Dolasso, FTW All Day, Ross Schmidt, Scott 1994, Lonzetta, Kratos God of War, Fake Name, that's a great username by the way, Bob Carmody, BG, Kate Travail, Robbie Barclay, Spasticus, Daredevil, Venus Bloodflow, Dylan Anderson, J.L. Washington, Haket, Mary Clam, Tanya K, Alan Hill, Dragon Slayer 19, Jop Van Muhadin, C. DeGenemer, Rachel Rasmussen, Thorin, Andrew S., a little person named The Humanist Report, Austin Drace Ornelis, Rachel K, Andre Sakura, Ace Area 51, The Synapsis, Blex Actually, Bad Lefty, Smokey Rose, Tokyo Hans, Alan Binder, who's that guy, Jacqueline Terrell, AOD Fan, Jesse Link, one that personally makes me smile seeing this one, Laverne Cox, that's right, the Laverne Cox, Serious Scaper, excuse me, Tyler Wakel, Geek Boy, Tony Rizzo, Wanda MV, Andrea Freeland, Stoic Jeff, Logan Hill, Day Waffle Bakers, The Loomer 66, LM Morrison, Mr. Fear, Nathan, wow, I can't believe it's still going. Nathan LeClaire, Brandon Woods, Danny Lingbach, Jay from New Jersey, Rudy Medeiros, Daniel Meeker, The Emo Dragon, Christy Coates, Damn Cedar, We Are Chaos. This one is a bunch of, let me see if I can do this. J. Kish Hobby Yokum, Amused Mob, Venetia David, Tan Shinan, Mark DeRue, T-Types, Dig It Dave, Leia B. Bangin, Stuart McGill, Daniel Castle, Jordan Staden, Donald James X, Your _Mom, Ryan Lennon Fan, Matt Claremont, Pinkerbell, The Pento 5, Nominal Times, Narrator, Mo Noop, FG, Jonathan Anderson, Sergeant Vow 1, Kitty's Hooch, Andrew Clement, Pitchforks Dragon, ADJ, Thinkrosity, Chaos Theory, Leia Broadwater, Katie Sheppy, Bay Photo, and Congressional Baseball Fan. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate all of your support on this new membership endeavor on YouTube. It's proven to be quite successful. I hope many more of you will join if you'd like. And that way I could do more with this show. And now back to the number one Binder Bro, Tokyo Hans. How you doing, my friend? I appreciate
doing good. Yeah.
Appreciate you staying for that.
When you first started this, of course. No, and I just donated another 10 while I was on here while you were going on.
Oh.
So
wow.
Yeah, I was happy when you first brought up the subscription thing. I immediately donated 10 subs, not realizing it has to be individual subs, not gifted ones. And your number 2 Binder Bro got a sub, one Alan Binder. So that was kind of nice on that.
I like how you supersede my dad in being the number one Binder Bro.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been just donating a lot, trying to get one for an obvious alias, but she doesn't seem to be getting one. So I'll keep donating until she gets one.
She should have grabbed one. I'm not streaming on my usual time. It's Monday. I rarely stream on Monday. It's also just a call-in show, which usually does. It's weird because if I do the full show with a guest, the people stick around for the call-in show. But if I just do a call-in show, it usually is less people who tune in. I guess it is what it is. But
Yeah.
apparently people are joining in now. I hope an obvious alias was able to grab one.
Uh,
Oh, these are
I'll get
all.
her
Someone
one.
asked. These are just YouTube subs. These are just people who joined via the YouTube subs. Oh, an obvious alias says the gifts are random. Ah, I see. Well, I don't know how to. If you sign up, you get. I think I could add more emotes now. I think once you. I think when you first sign up, you could only upload 4 unique emotes, which I did. There are 4 wonderful emotes. One is from the Great Letter Hack, and the other 3 is the one from the Letter Hack is the fantastic Peanuts version of me that people have said they wanted as a plushie, which I would love to do one day. Maybe we will get that done one day. And the other 3 are from an obvious alias, which is me holding up a wrestling championship belt, a very handsome version of me with a thumbs up, and then a zombie version of me.
Those are great.
I think I can now add new ones because I hit a certain level of members. And from what I've seen, an obvious alias has created crypto versions of me. Not crypto, crypto token versions of the emojis for me. That's what I meant to say. I'm already in tune-out mode, I guess. But wow, thank you for the extra 10 subs. I really appreciate it. Without doing the Leftist Mafia stream this week, which is a huge source of YouTube revenue for me now.
Definitely.
This will help make up for the loss.
Definitely. It would be cool if you could make like the people who have the membership, the marks, make them like a Binder coin logo. I don't know. Maybe you need more people to be able to do that.
Oh, that would be that. Like the little. Oh, I think you can.
There's like a little
that.
star right now.
Yeah,
I've
I think you
seen it
can
on other
change
people,
that.
Other streamers, yeah.
Right, I think you can change that. I will give people the Binder coin, I guess. Right, I'll look into making it that.
And also, is there a way to do like tiered subs? Because I've seen it on other streamers as well on the YouTube one.
I didn't do tiered subs at first because I just so far subscribing to me here or on Patreon. For the most part, yeah, you get the audio version, and you actually haven't got the audio version uploaded of the members half like as a solo thing for some time. There's been an issue with Patreon I had to deal with, and then once I got it fixed, I had to get back into doing it, and I have to get back to doing it. But it really was just to support the show, like to make the show happen, period. So I felt uncomfortable asking, providing an extra, like different tiers without giving anything for the extra tiers. But I'm hoping to, as things progress, roll out extra tiers because I'd also like to give people something for those tiers. I mean, I've been talking to, Mike from the Universe Report and David Dole, and I know they do things, monthly sort of private live streams just for like a Zoom call type thing where everyone who subscribes, who wants to call in, is like on at the same time. So it's like a group chat. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm going to, look into doing something like that. Once I get back, I'll try to make this all, better planned out, basically.
Definitely. Sounds great. But anyway, let me get to where I wanted to call in for, other than, plugging my new, #1 Binder Bro hat. I just wanted to talk about some trans news that happened over here in Japan, some good news and some sad news. There was a big win in the courts for trans rights over here for trans people to be able to use the toilets that they wish, which is like super cool. So if you're a trans woman, you can now go into the women's bathroom here in Japan. So just big hooray for that. And some sad news, there was a recent trans person that very famous in Japan. Her name was Ryuchel. She was very big in the LGBTQ LGBTQ community, and she committed suicide just 2 weeks ago. I've been trying to call in, but it's been kind of hard to call in recently for me. But yeah, she was really famous. She was only 27. She had just transitioned like 6 months ago, and very big in the Harajuku fashion section. Her wife, she had gotten married before transitioning, so she and then they divorced after transitioning because it's illegal still to be trans and married at the same time over here. But yeah, it was just a really sad story, and I just wanted to get it out there to the world because nobody really knows her outside of Japan. But it was just really sad times for that part of the community.
Right. I appreciate you calling in with that. That's really sad. Yeah, I mean, do we know anything about what happened in terms of like if there was any? I mean, in terms of like, was this person? Was there issues with this person? Like any sort of harassment they faced or anything? I mean, sure there was, but I mean, was it well known or something like that, or something like that? Or
she was. No, it doesn't seem to be like any foul play or anything. I'm assuming. I don't know any of the background or anything. The Japanese laws are really strong on privacy and everything, so they don't really release anything. I'm just assuming, there had to be something, but she was a really, really big person here, and she actually died at her how do you say sorry, I can't think of the word in English at the moment. Her like talent agency office, and her manager found her in like the waiting room, and she had like overdosed on pills or something. Jeez. And yeah, I think she was having like a contract negotiation or something, and just things weren't going well, and on top of the having to divorce her wife for to transition and everything. Kind of, it's just, mounted up all the stress and everything, and right. Japan is really, really slow moving. It's weird. The everyday people are super, like, I don't want to say like pro LGBTQ or anything. They're just indifferent to it. They're like, live your life, whatever you want, kind of thing. Like, they're not against it. They're not for it. They're just like, whatever. You're just another person. Just the government is just really old and pretty anti-LGBTQ. I know everybody's probably seen a lot of things in the news, like during the G7 summit and everything. But the people in general are completely okay with anybody in the community.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks for. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that was it.
Yeah.
I just want to.
I'm glad you. First of all,
everybody, haven't been able to call in a while.
No, I'm glad to see you on, and we're taking calls a little bit earlier today too, so that's a bonus for people who usually want to call in and maybe they can't because they're overseas like you, Tokyo Hans.
So I have to go to the meeting in 25 minutes, so it's perfect for me. So thank you.
I enjoy your meeting. Damn. This is I'll be here streaming still. Maybe you'll catch me when you get back. Maybe I'll still be on.
Oh, it's only like 20 minutes, so I'll be watching you and like during it. So don't worry. So.
Sounds good. Oh, are you playing hooky from the meeting?
Exactly.
All right, Tokyo.
I'll let you go. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take it easy.
Bye. All right, folks, and over on Twitch, I wanted to give shout-outs to people who are on Twitch. And, let me take this call. And then I'll get back to the Twitch stuff. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, right on there. Hi, buddy. It's Charlie from Washington. How you doing?
Hey, Charlie. I'm doing good. Can I pull you up on the feed?
Absolutely, you can.
Cool.
But
what's up? How you doing? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I wanted to talk about food work, and then I want to end by dunking on Tim Pool, a thing that I noticed that I think needs to be brought up a little bit more. It's kind of funny, but I do want to briefly mention that I was watching Voss stream because it comes on like right after Majority Report, and he was debating with the Vanguard guys over like voting third party, and their whole position is like doing it for a protest vote. And I kind of agree with Voss's position on like beating back fascism is the number one priority, because the way I would describe it is like trans people, for instance, as an example, are basically in a room and the Republicans have a gun to their head and they're saying, if we win, we'll pull the trigger. And Democrats are saying, well, you better vote for us or they'll pull the trigger. And then there's a whole bunch of people like, well, we should vote third party to protest this whole thing. And like, they're going to pull the trigger, guys. Like,
Right.
you know, some of us don't
Right.
have the privilege to really worry about that. But
Yeah. I mean, I obviously agree with that position in terms of third parties, but I also think that from a strategic standpoint, the best thing to do with people who feel the opposite way, like I'm sure the Vanguard guys were arguing, is to just explain your position to them and let them fall where they may. I don't think there's any benefit in shaming people, or I'm not saying that's what Vosh was doing, but I know that that's a lot.
well,
You know,
yeah,
we-
very pro shaming for voting, but like,
Okay, when we I don't necessarily think that's helpful.
well, no,
If
if you try to force people, they're going to be more against doing what you would like them to do. But
Right.
like, I would say that even in a blue state, like I'm in a blue state technically, I mean, it's a lot of like centrist corporate Democrats that run everything very neoliberal. And then there's like a whole bunch of like all of Eastern Washington is very red, like it's all red over there. But I wouldn't even take my state for granted. And I don't think anybody who feels that they're in a safe blue state, I don't think you should take your state for granted either. But, again, you're going to do what you're going to do.
Right. I think you make the case. I think you make the case to them. I'm just saying, like, it rarely works out that someone is, going to be shamed into voting in the way that you would like them to, and really the way they should, sure, if especially if they're in a swing state. I mean, if they're in a deep blue state, then really I don't care. But
I think you should still be paying. You should treat if you're in a safe blue state, you should treat it like it could flip red anyway, just out of precaution, because we're kind of living in dangerous times. But to be fair to Vosh, he was talking. Well, they brought up Cornel West, and he was like, if Cornel West had run as a Democrat, that would be a much more effective use of his time trying to do.
Yeah,
but they're not really doing the debates or anything for this. But I will say, like, one positive for voting for Biden right now is this will be his last term. Like, we only have to put up with him 4 more years, and they can't run him again. And then you might have a better shot of getting a better candidate after that. But
right. I mean, I don't know who that candidate would be, honestly. I mean, we're talking about.
Well, we got 4 years to figure it out. So, but yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about food a little bit, food work anyway, because during like Majority Report does a lot of segments on like Teamster strikes, writer strikes, and all of that stuff, and they've mentioned a couple of times, like a small food company or walking out on the they mentioned that these people walk out of like a bar and grill or something like that because it's really fucking hot and it's way too hot to be working in the kitchen in some of these areas. And it reminded me of working in my last food job. We work right next to a Little Caesars. I used to work in a Jersey Mike, so we'd bake bread all day. And the building that we were in, it was built for an office building, so it didn't have air conditioning or anything like that. It wasn't really built to be the kitchen that it ended up being. But Little Caesars, their whole night crew walked out because they weren't allowed to keep the back door open because I guess they didn't have air conditioning in their building either. And the manager from there, she ended up having to close the place, and she was talking to our manager about that. And he pauses halfway through and like, God damn, it's a lot hotter in here than it is in there. And I'm like, fuck, man. And so, like, I'm really encouraged by seeing all these people going on strike because when you're in food, they make it a point to beat into your head that you are replaceable, that your job is skillless, and in a sense, it makes you feel worthless, and that really, really gets into your head. If there's any psych students out there who want to do like a big paper for their thesis or whatever, they should look into like what kind of psychological damage happens when you work in food, because I have a lot of like, I guess just tics or habits or whatever. Like I could walk into like say the Taco Bell here in our current town, they have a lot of trouble keeping staff. And I walked in there one time and they were like slammed, and like I could just read on the manager's face exactly what was going on. I mean, I saw the two people in the back and I'm like, okay, those guys are new. You're not supposed to be here. Somebody called out, half your team quit on you, and you're just like getting the shit kicked out of you. And like I've been there so much that trauma is just like I was getting flashbacks from all the times that because every time that I would take time off or have weekends or even on my birthday because I take time off for my birthday. It's like the one thing that I do for myself. Every time they call me in, even when I'm sick, I would go in because the only thing that I could convince myself as that I was a valuable employee was like I'm reliable. I show up, I do the job. And it got so bad that when my last car I got T-boned in an intersection real bad. It's the third one that I've been in. It was like, at that point, it was just another one for me. But I felt really bad that I couldn't come into work. So, there's a lot of leftover, like, just head stuff from that. And, so if you see like your Starbucks or a restaurant that you like, even if it's just like a cheesy McDonald's stuff, guys, go support those people. If they take 40 hours of your life, you deserve to be able to like live and be treated like a fucking human being. And we all too often we live in a society with people who are like, this isn't a real job. You get a real job. You're lazy or whatever. And like all of those people, I've trained so many of those people that like every single one of them that I've trained, except for one, raid quit within 1 week. The one who didn't, raid quit within 3 weeks. He did a no call, no show. And then he showed up to me and he was bragging about it because he thought he was sticking it to my boss. And I had to explain to him, no, you stuck it to me, because me and like the high school student who couldn't finish, because that's the other thing, is like if you're high school, you have to leave at a certain time, and we would close after that time. I ended up closing the whole thing by myself, and he fucked me over, and I was pissed at him. But yeah, sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
No, I mean, yeah, it's
I rant for days about conservatives and food work. Those are the two things that I get really ranty about.
Listen, service jobs are rough, like no doubt about it. I think people don't give people in that industry enough respect, and the idea that it's like talked down upon, honestly, really pisses me off. I mean, I personally, as you all know, I'm a big fast food, going to the store and buying something food like quick cheap eats type guy. I always I'm as try to make things as easy as possible for them. And honestly, the amount of times I don't even hear people simply say like thank you, have a nice day to them when they pick up their order or get their food is astonishing. I always make sure at the very least to do that, because it's just the least you can do. And I mean,
even just being friendly to them, because you get so many people who are just, they think they have a right to abuse you because they're paying your boss, and they get mad at you because corporate raised their price. It's just a whole fucking mess. And like, I don't care if you shovel shit for 40 hours a week. If you shovel 40, if they take 40 hours a week, you can always get more money. You cannot get more time back. So that's what you're taking from them when you do that. Like, but
and I worked. Listen, I worked back of the house. I know I was a dishwasher at a popular bar and grill chain for many years when I was in high school. It is fucking brutal work. It really is hard work.
Oh my God!
And it's not mindless either. It's real. People seem to think that like, oh, you're sending a kid out there, a high school kid. I mean, that's what I did because that's what the society expects those jobs are supposed to be taken. But let me tell you, like it's like quick, hard work, and you need to be on your feet. And if you're a server, obviously, you need to remember things and remember people and be good with people. If you are, if you're a cook or something, there's a whole, at some of these restaurants too, the fucking amount of meals that they're supposed to know how to prepare is fucking insane. Like, insane. The menus are insane at some of these places.
Next time you go to cook your own meal, time yourself, and then imagine trying to condense that into like 2 minutes per meal, per order. Just shovel them out as fast as you can. And like all the complaints about like, wonky scheduling. I've been there not being able to take your breaks because if there's just two guys and you're in the middle of a rush, well, guess what? You don't get to sit down and eat. You don't get a time, you know. So they don't even really pay you very well in terms of like your insurance. They cheap out on that, and a lot of these like bosses who own like especially franchise owners, they want the passive income, so they don't want to actually put in. You can't do that with a restaurant. That's just not how it works. But yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, at the very least, if they're gonna do that, they could hire all the people to make the restaurant work. But we all know a lot of them don't do that. Yeah,
That's it. Is like they want to save on labor so bad. There were so many times where like they wanted to run a 3-man cruise on our on nights on our sub shop, and you think sub shop is a very lunch kind of thing, and in fact, a lot of the other franchises. There's like a whole conglomerate of them that work up in like Renton, and they're like right across from the industrial work. So they get the regular lunch rushes, so they think they're hot shit. But then they come and they see our dinner rushes, and they don't expect it because we got all the guys coming back who didn't want to go and like cook their own dinner. So they would still be treating it like it's their dead dinner hours, and we needed more than 3 people. We needed like 5 people most of the time, and we just couldn't get that. He didn't want to pay for the labor or whatever. But like I swear to God, man, when I got my new job and they told me like, no, man, go take your break. Go eat your food. You get 2 15-minute breaks. We're not paying you to stand here and work through your breaks. Go take your fucking break. I about fucking cried. Day one, I messed something up, and my coworker comes over and he's yelling at you need to pull your head out of your ass. And then he comes back to me later and apologizes. I'm sorry, man. I have a temper problem. I've been working on it. I'm like, you didn't even faze me, bud. Yeah, I've had to take so much shit and with a fucking smile on my face, because at one point I was a PIC, which is like 1 step above just like a basic employee. Basically, you count the tail and you get yelled at for shit. And it was my job to get yelled at for shit.
I mean,
Like,
some of the shit you see in terms of like
it's
even at like even like the fancy like restaurants and service,
even like Gordon
Like-
Ramsay, like they don't treat
yeah,
him with it.
like the whole
Respect.
like it's a very
that
old
just
school.
piece of paper is just the paper to most people.
It seems like a
'Cause they
very
think, oh,
old
everybody
school
could, like-
mentality too, like the whole like yes chef, like it's like a military
That's-
type thing. Yeah, it's very.
The thing about that is that's all he gets out of being a chef. He's still a food worker. The only thing he gets is that title and that paper.
Well,
yeah, he's gonna make
if you're the restaurant owner, these guys, the celebrity chefs make a lot of money, from what I understand in terms of.
Not as much as you'd think, honestly. Like but anyway.
I
But,
mean, he probably made a ton of money from the TV shows, but
yeah, more from TV shows than his actual
Right.
chef work.
that wouldn't
That's the
surprise me.
thing.
Right.
But I do want to end by like a quick dunk on Tim Pool, because like I said, I haven't noticed a lot of people point this out, but when I was watching the Emma debate, and you notice how first it was like, oh, they ran my song through a filter and made it sound crappy, and then he explained, oh, well, when you play it off of YouTube, it cuts out the mids, or like you scoop the mids, and he makes excuse after excuse. And I'm just thinking, like, some of the greatest bands that you've ever heard. I know a lot of bands that he probably grew up listening to and idolizing. They recorded their demo tapes on a shitty little Casio,
4-track.
just a little
4-track,
cassette tape in a fucking garage. They still sound good. So no fucking excuses, bud. You don't get to when you design a song. It doesn't matter how good your equipment is. It matters what the equipment your audience is listening to. You need to design it so that it'll sound good coming through that YouTube video that most people are going to hear it from, because most people don't have thousands of dollars to spend on audio equipment. Okay, you need to be able to play it off your fucking phone and still sound good. And I'm sorry, buddy. I will say this for him though. I agree with them that he doesn't sound like Nickelback. He sounds worse. I do not like Nickelback. They sound better than he does.
I will
Fuck
say
him.
that
His music sucks.
I haven't listened to much of his music, but I will say that first song they released, just
not
from
making me want to come back for more. Honestly, I would not.
Yeah,
listen
let's put aside even the musical talent. Very very bizarre
talent.
or lack thereof, right? But very very bizarre single, right? I mean, you think you would put out a song that best represents your, the style and the music that you're putting out there. Yet they put out this song where it's just a slow. I don't calling it a ballad doesn't even do it justice, because it's just a slow. Like, it feels like a 3-minute intro that leads into a 30-second ending. And if anyone, Tim, if you're listening, I'm not doing exact time code here, but the point is a very extended, slow intro that gives people very little bang for their buck for a very short period of time at the end of the song. It's a very weird decision to release as your first single, or to put out there as on its own. I don't think I would do that, to be quite frank.
Yeah, you just listen to the lyrics and his voice. It sounded really whiny, to be fair. I wouldn't say a mile wide and an inch deep, more like six inches wide and a couple centimeters deep. And I heard the title of another song of his, I guess, is called Genocide. I already know where that's going. He's going to be singing about how trans activists are the real genocide. He's so fucking full of himself, and he's just not that good, buddy. Like, hire somebody else to write your lyrics. You do better. But anyway, I'll stop ranting at you and let you get on to more callers.
No, this was great. I really appreciate the call. Have a great night. Always a pleasure when you call in.
Yeah, thank you, bud. You too.
Bye. All right. Phone lines are open once again. Also, I will read super chats on YouTube and on Twitch. If you drop something on Twitch too, a subscription or whatever. Don't forget, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, connect your Amazon account to your Twitch account and you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. It's basically free for you. It's added. It comes with your Amazon Prime subscription, and you could give a subscription to your favorite creator. X Leftward X cheered 200 bits over on Twitch at twitch.tv/MattBinder. Cheers, Matt. Did anyone catch the Beanie Bubble on Apple TV? Great drama about the scam economy of Beanie Babies. R.I.P. Pee-wee. I have to watch that. I heard about it. I want to see it. And yeah, I'll talk a little extended about Pee-wee in a little bit. But yes, absolutely. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, string me up and call me auntie. Hey, Matt, it is Tony from Texas. It's been a while.
Hey, Tony, how are you? What's up? What was it to talk about?
Oh man, I was listening to your discussion with Charlie about the food service industry, and I figured I'd chime in a little bit on that too, since as I've got over a decade of experience.
Oh, please, let's hear
it. Charlie brought up a really good point that a lot of work goes into drilling that into food service workers, that they are replaceable, disposable, and not worth anything unless you dedicate 100% of your time and energy to the restaurant, to the business. I did culinary school in the early aughts, graduated just in time to lead it right before the big crash in the aughts. And so I watched, I'd been out of college for almost a year, just about a year, whenever the '08 crisis hit. I definitely, that was one. There's really three big lessons, three major takeaways. They wanted to make sure everybody knew in culinary school our first quarter. One, always needs more salt. 2, fake it till you make it. And 3, your relationships are going to suffer because the only thing that should matter in your life is this kitchen. And I ate that shit up. Like, I put up with and endured a whole lot of exploitation and mistreatment because I was taught that being exploited was something to be proud of. That if you were getting tapped for, the 14-hour shifts and all the special duties and the overnights, and if you were running yourself so ragged that you had to like be on all, way too much caffeine and nicotine and whatever else in order to get yourself through a shift, like that was how you chef. That's how you cook. That's how you do the counterculture thing. And it took uh, well into my 20s before I realized like this is not sustainable. This is killing me. This is bullshit. Like I have other things that I want to do with my life. I miss my family. Like what the fuck am I doing here? And in the months of being unemployed this year, I have been applying to restaurants again for the first time in like 5 years. And I'll tell you, it's hard. It's hard to get a job in one of those places when I don't come to an interview with that same sort of attitude. I come with a good attitude. Hey, I've got all this experience. I know how to get stuff done. I'm used to working with few resources, and I've done all this stuff. I know my way around. I know how to get shit done, and I always come to work and bring more value than I'm taking home. Like that's, and I phrase it in a way that sounds like I'm okay with it, even though inside I'm like screaming like this is bullshit. But it's food industry's fucked up. It's a fucked up place. Love fucked up shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, have you seen that the movie The Menu?
No, I haven't yet. It looks
It's
really.
it is really good, and it was it hits all the right notes in terms of exactly what you and Charles and what we've just been talking about. It's yeah, I mean it's. I think that's why on top of it just being a really good movie and really well done, I think it hit a lot of people good. Like it hit the right notes for them too, and it was like because a lot of people have experience doing this.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And you could tell
Um,
too. You could tell too when someone, um, worked in the industry because they treat service workers a lot different than people who haven't worked in the industry.
yeah, absolutely. Um, it's but and it's one thing that really like has disturbed me about the whole gigification of the economy and the hustle culture type stuff, because a lot of that echoes of the kind of attitudes that were drilled into me and my classmates in culinary school. And this idea of um, uh, getting uh, getting workers eager and excited to be taken advantage of. Um, like I was talking with my artistic creative partner and one of our industry mentors, and uh, he had a potential job prospect out in California crop up earlier in the year, um, but they wound up turning him down when they found out that he was in his 30s. And he was like, I don't get it. Like, I'm qualified. They were so excited about like working with me, and then they found out I'm almost 35 and said, nah, never mind. And our mentor was like, well, yeah, because you're almost 35, and they can they're probably thinking we can find somebody that's like 20 or 21 to do this kind of stuff, and they're not going to have other responsibilities. They're not going to have the experience to know like when they're being taken advantage of and that sort of thing. And um, I just turned 35, and I wonder how much like my difficulty in finding work this year has been in like, has it been in my age, has it been in my open transness in like the current climate, or is it just like uh the 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 shitty job market where I'm at, or some combination thereof. But I have not had a steady paycheck outside of unemployment insurance since March, and it's fucking
Yeah,
it's aggravating.
I hear you. I mean, it's been very rough for a lot of people. I mean, I see it in the like 99% of the time if someone cancels subscription for on Patreon, they tell me it's because they're having issues, and when there's a bunch of people, I could like sort of tell which way the economy is flowing, at least for my
Yeah.
my listeners, because it comes in all at once. I've been um, fairly lucky over the past couple of years. It's been at one place, but I've heard from a lot. But even in this industry too, though, media. I mean, especially honestly, it's not safe. A lot of people I know, a lot of journalists and writers and people who do digital video and stuff like that have lost their jobs too over the past couple of months and years or two or so. A lot of industries are sort of struggling to find their place, I guess, in terms of what comes next. Excuse me.
Yeah. And a lot of places are doing a lot of like I've had uh probably I would comfortably say most of the interviews that I've gone in for in the past several months have been bait and switches. Like I apply for full-time position doing something at like 17, $18 an hour, which is like my low end. Like I need to be able to pay my bills. And then they'll
Right.
be like, so, at the end of like great interviews, how do you think about like part-time hours, $16 an hour? And it's like,
I
that's
hate that, and I remember that's not a new thing. I think it's ramping up for sure.
mhm.
Also, I wrote it wasn't my original reporting, but I wrote up like like a take on another report about what's being called as ghost jobs. Basically, companies putting jobs up on like LinkedIn and Indeed and all the job websites that they have no intention to fill, but
Mhm.
they keep the job posts up to make it seem like their company is growing.
Yep. A
And
lot of that.
it's I mean, it's disgusting. Why do that? I mean, I get why do that for yourself for very selfish reasons,
Right.
but it's just so fucking messed up to do
You
that, honestly.
usually with those kinds of postings, or at least what I suspect are those kind of postings that I've hit upon, like I get an automated like we've decided to go with a different candidate, like usually within like 12 to 24 hours of submitting an
I wouldn't
application.
even do that. I
If I
mean,
get
that's too long.
well,
Literally, if you're gonna go this weird, shady route to begin with, and try to make your company look like it's doing better, at least the second they apply, don't even give them an hour out of their day to think maybe they'll get this job. Immediately
well,
say, "Oh, we filled the job."
well, honestly, I mean I mean it's the system is probably like processing and sending out those denials like as soon as they're coming in, but just like
I don't know
with
about that. I think maybe they are purposefully delaying it to make it seem like they're
oh
actually
that
looking at your resume
oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you're right. There's probably some sort of timer, like send out like within, yeah, yeah. Um, it's yeah, it's it is what it is. But I'm despite not being gainfully employed, I'm still working hard. I still make work for myself, so I don't lack for work. That's the upshot. I'm just still not sure how my bills are going to get paid when my unemployment runs out. But I got irons in the fire, so hopefully some of those will be ready by the time that happens. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
doing
think what I remember a mistake I made back when I was regularly applying was I would like really take each job application as if I was like, oh, I really have to think it over. Oh, do I really want to apply here? And then when I did, I would take great care, trying to send them the perfect everything. I've quickly discovered that what you really want to do is create one good generic thing that you could send out to everybody that you even have
Yeah.
any interest in. Get it
I've-
out as much as possible. Apply, because eventually you will hit something.
Yeah.
My mistake was always what they tell you should do, and like,
Right.
find that job, and then
Well,
write
that's-
the perfectly unique, targeted
crafted,
cover letter
yeah.
and craft a resume specifically for that particular job. It's like, no.
No. Yeah. No. Because I've been looking for another job since November when I still had a full-time job. Like I was looking for work elsewhere before that job decided to shit can me. Because it was not a pleasant place for me to work. It was not a good, healthy situation, and I wanted to move on. And they fired me before I uh, had the opportunity to do that, but not before I carried them through the holiday season and through inventory count. Help them get through the hardest part of the year, and then I was not of I was more trouble than I was worth because I kept using phrases like living wage and recognizing that neither of my boss nor my boss's boss knew what they were doing. But that job's not on my resume anymore because I signed an NDA. But
Yeah. Oh
um,
man.
but I'm making a video game right now with
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's just like a portfolio project, like game jam thing. My
Oh, that's
mentor
awesome though.
pulled together like a small group of
That's
uh
that's another thing I'd recommend for everybody. Like, listen, I know, I'm not saying obviously quit your job or don't get a job and just work on your own thing. I'm saying though, like, always have something else going on in the background. I mean, this is the world we live in now. We unfortunately don't live in the age of get that job and stay there till you retire and come home and relax with the family, enjoy your weekends, barbecuing with the kids. And I mean, it's at least from my experience. I mean, here I am right now. Like, have some sort of side thing going on, or even two side things going on, or even three, whatever you can, without going crazy and losing your mind and completely destroying yourself. Try to make that secondary or third thing something you actually enjoy doing, like and then that way, when worst comes to worst, I'm not saying you're gonna be able to replace a full-time job with that, but you'll have something
supplementary. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully, I don't know if the uh game is going to result in a games company, but at the very least, it may be like a proof of concept for running, um, like teaching game jams, so that I can maybe make some of my bills just running groups like this for other people interested in learning how to make video games and that sort of thing. And uh, hopefully soon we'll actually finally be getting up start recording a weekly podcast with my creative partner. Um, so when that clears up, it's been kind of a crazy summer. Everybody in our group's been kind of going through it. I lost a family member recently,
Sorry to hear that.
and yeah, it was unfortunate, but not surprising. I know, like one of my dad's older siblings. He doesn't have many of those left. Being pretty up there himself. And then my roommate is been in the hospital all weekend with spots in his lungs.
Ooh.
Or in one of his lungs. It's not in any great pain or suffering or anything like that, but they're getting it checked out.
Well, I hope everything goes well with that. Jeez. Hello. Uh-oh. I'm getting the sound that our connection is dropping. Tony, you there? It says reconnecting. Tony, if you want to call back in, I'll take your call. I let me make sure it's not my connection. Let me just go to any old website. Okay, it's not my connection. Tony, if you want to call back in, feel free. Let's go back to the phones and just... Oh, Rayvana! Thank you so much for the raid, Rayvana. Just noticed over on Twitch. Hello, everybody. This is my call-in stream. I'm taking calls tonight. You could call in via Skype. Just open up Skype and go to Doomed Live. I was just talking to listener Tony from Texas, but it seems like we lost her. There was a connection issue. It doesn't seem like it's on my end, though, because another call is coming in right now. Let's take these calls. Oh, wait, Tony's calling back in. Let's make sure we finish this call with Tony, and then I'll take the other calls. Hey, Tony, you hear me?
That my computer disconnected, so I'm calling back in from my phone.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, everything's all right.
No, just my internet service at the house has been shitty today. It's been going out randomly. Anyway, yeah, lots of plates in the air, but hopefully I'll have some new stuff to show soon. Anne has more assets for you. Lovely artistic Anne from the UK, and that would include a Bender coin, and I would be so thrilled to re-render the Scam Economy intro with the Bender coin included.
Ooh, I'll get you a copy of that Bender coin.
Yes, please. I just need the 2D like PN.
Oh, Tony, you cut out again. Tony, I think you have a bad connection. I'll get it for you, okay? I'll get it for you. We got a bunch of people really stuck around from Rayvana's stream. Hey, everyone. First time chat from Raider. Why do the top streamers always have the dumbest stream titles? I don't know. Did you talk about mine? I'm just saying rest in peace to Pee-wee for this one. I'm going to talk about Pee-wee in a little bit. What was Rayvana talking about on her stream? I didn't even realize Rayvana was streaming. I gotta have Rayvana back on the show. I love talking to Rayvana on the stream. It's honestly, she's honestly one of my favorite people to talk with on the streams. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Whoa.
First chat from me.
Hello.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, are you like on a motorcycle or something? What was that?
No, that was you. I think.
I'm not. I'm on a motorcycle.
No, I'm saying it was my computer, but I just hadn't muted your stream yet.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you want to talk about? How you doing, Josh? What do you want to talk about?
I'm good. Speaking of motorcycles, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh my God,
one of my favorites.
I gotta say, I haven't talked about it yet. I've been sort of pushing it back because I might tear up. I was absolutely heartbroken today. Seeing that. I'm not someone who gets emotional when
celebrity deaths, yeah.
when a celebrity with a celebrity death, right? It's very I would say pro wrestlers usually hit me. And obviously depending on who it is, it could hit a lot worse. When Eddie Guerrero died, for example. When Roddy Piper died, Dusty Rhodes. But when I saw the news that Pee-wee died, and I saw it immediately, I might be the first person to have tweeted the message they put out. I literally just happened to open up the Facebook app on my phone, and it was the first thing there, and it said it was posted. It was up for like 50 seconds or something like that. It was under a minute. They had just posted it. It had like 12 reactions at that point. And it took me a second to like see it, like read it in full. And I was absolutely floored. It made me so sad. Paul Rubens, aka Pee-wee Herman, was a huge part of my childhood. I would say that in terms of the people who sort of, other than the people who raise you in your family and stuff, the people who sort of made me who I am today. Paul Rubens as Pee-wee Herman played an absolutely enormous role in that, and probably my sense of humor, my personality. I watched that show religiously. I had many Pee-wee toys. I had the entire Playhouse set with all the characters: King of Cartoons, Cowboy Curtis, Miss Yvonne, of course Pee-wee, Reba the Mail Lady. It was. I had the big Pee-wee. With the you pulled the string in the back and he said the Pee-wee phrases. The Conky toy, the robot that gave him the word of the day. Yeah, I mean, I must have started watching that show when I was like 3 years old. Yeah.
That's pretty
seriously.
early for something so trippy and kind of actually.
I mean, that was the thing with Pee-wee though. Like, the show really somehow was for both kids and adults of all ages without ever feeling like it went too much one way. Like, kids of a certain age love SpongeBob. Really young kids don't. I tried to get my kids, with SpongeBob. They weren't fans of it when they were younger. Like when they were 3 and 4, it was just too much for them. There's a lot of shows like that like, they try to, and then there's shows that are obviously just for babies, like the whole Nicktoons type thing.
Yeah, like Blue's Clues and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like it's cute if you're, but it's not for like parents can watch it and it's cute to watch with your kids. But it's not really. But Pee-wee was literally for everybody. And it is funny for kids and adults. It is the perfect mix of making it wacky enough that kids are enthralled with it, still have a good message too, so it's not garbage. There's always some sort of lesson learned in Pee-wee's Playhouse. But also, make sure you have those jokes in there for parents. If you're an adult, go back and watch Pee-wee's Playhouse. You will find such subtle innuendos that like you'll be like floored that they fit this into a kid's show without crossing a line. It was a fantastic show, and of course the Pee-wee movies, which are not the Playhouse shows. I would say those are for an older audience, but the Pee-wee movies, Big Adventure, Big Top Pee-wee. Even though the last one that they did for Netflix, the Pee-wee's Vacation, I think it was called, or what? I forgot it. Holiday or something like that. Really well done. All of it's fantastic. And the HBO, the original stage show that they filmed for HBO back in the 80s that he brought back in 2010, 2011 for a quick Broadway run.
That's right. I remember that.
I saw that live in 2010 or 2011. And it was like the whole family went. Like that's how much Pee-wee was, how much Pee-wee meant to everyone in the family, from my dad down to my littlest brother, who is 10 years younger than me. That's how much that show transcended. I don't know what if kids today are still, my kids are vaguely aware of Pee-wee Herman because of me. Unfortunately, there's not really. It's not streaming anywhere, and I need to buy it. Really, I had the entire VHS collection. It was, I think, like 20 VHS tapes in a 2-box set. But we don't have VHS players anymore, and I don't even know where the VHS collection is, if we even still have it. If it's either in a box or my parents tossed it out back when I lived at home.
Well, your dad's on the stream. You can ask him.
Oh, he does. He knows even less about where that stuff is. My dad says, you were still in a high chair when I put Pee-wee on. I taped the show to feed you. Pre-toddler Matt would watch with his mouth open in amazement, and I'd shovel food into your open mouth. There you go.
That's
mean,
me and Family Feud, apparently.
Oh, there you go. That's a good show. But Pee-wee Herman, Paul Rubens created a character along with Phil Hartman, I believe, developed a character with him because Phil Hartman was also a character on the show, Captain Coral, and you know, Phil Hartman died in a completely tragic way. But Pee-wee was a character. I saw someone say it perfectly. I want to read this tweet because it really was like I couldn't put it in better words in terms of describing what Paul Rubens did with this character. This was where is it? At Maya Saint on Twitter. There was nothing inevitable about Pee-wee Herman. If Paul Rubens hadn't invented him, nobody else would have. And how often do you get to say that? I mean, it's absolutely true. It was, I really, and seeing like the people mourn him and like the age range in which like it seems like the bulk of the people who really were like touched by him and his entertainment, it really does feel like an entire generation in a like explicitly has a sense of humor based on watching that show. It's the same type of people that Conan O'Brien was the late night talk show host, and nobody else deserved the Tonight Show more than him. And Jimmy Fallon and Jay Leno are gonna go to hell for doing what they did to Conan. I mean, Conan to me was the next step. Like Conan to me encapsulated like the closest you could get to Pee-wee's brand, but for an older audience. And I don't really know like any other comedians that had that style that made it as far as Paul Rubens and Conan. It's just this weird, like I don't know how else to explain it. Like just weird, bizarre.
It's
like
very absurd. Yeah, it's
absurd.
absurdist. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, it was very popular. Like not very popular, but like some of the people that still endure from like the early 80s, that's like the style. Like Weird Al is very absurd and like only could have come up during this
Weird
late
Al doesn't
70s,
feel
early 80s.
Weird Al doesn't feel like Pee-wee and Conan did. Like Pee-wee and Conan feel like you could put them together and they have like you could see the influence. Weird Al is weird and kooky, but it doesn't feel like the same. I don't know how to explain it.
I could see that. I just think like a lot of that sort of absurdness was more popular in like the 70s and 80s, and it has sort of stayed popular with the people who liked it, but it's kind of faded from.
And like if you think about it, like I don't think people realize, but maybe without even knowing it, how many pop cultural references that transcend time and generations literally came from Pee-wee Herman. So many saying like, "I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?" If you like it so much, why don't you marry it? He literally on one of the episodes married a fruit bowl because of how much he loved fruit bowl and of the fruit bowl. And someone said that to him, and he was like, "You know what? I will," and he married the fruit bowl. There was take a picture; it'll last longer. The basement in the Alamo. I mean, that's been such a long-running gag, and it came from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. What else? The phrase. There's so many phrases that he's I've heard that. I hear this all the time. I don't know if people even realize it's a Pee-wee thing. I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel. That's a line from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And someone else who did. Oh yeah, Carl Bagier on Twitter pointed this out. All the names that came from Pee-wee's Playhouse is insane. Paul Rubens, Lawrence Fishburne,
Yeah. Yeah,
Phil
he's
Hartman,
hilarious back then,
obviously.
but yeah.
Right. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, there are a lot of those
Oh,
shows, and I
Large
mean
Marge,
Pee-wee's is
Large Marge, Large Marge. The whole story about the ghost of Large Marge. It's so well done. It's a classic. And then of course people are going to talk about their other favorite Pee Wee characters. You know, he had that iconic role in Blow. He had that amazing role as like the second head vampire in Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something like that. And he had that incredible death scene in that movie everyone remembers. He plays the FBI agent in Matilda. He had a number of roles like that. He was one of the superheroes in that movie Mystery Men that came out in I think it was like the late 90s, right?
yes, so or late 90s or yes, because that was that was before Dodgeball, so
Right. Man, you know what's crazy, and I'm glad that's the case, but like he owns that stuff too. Like that's so rare now that someone creates a character and it's everywhere and it's clearly, you know, the network picks it up and everything, and that person still gets to own that character. He owns Pee-wee Herman and the Pee-wee's play, like that's all his. I don't know what happens to it now. God, I hope his estate takes care of it and doesn't sell it off to some a-hole who gives some actor the new Pee-wee Herman. No, absolutely not. God forbid if that was to happen.
well, according to Homer Simpson, he'll be dancing with toasters in commercials, like in VR for the next 10 years.
You know what's crazy? In 2020, what outlet was it? I just saw. Hold on, let me pull it up. It was one of the Hollywood rags. Or maybe it was something more respectable. Hold on, it wasn't TMZ or anything like that. Hold on, what was it? Hollywood Reporter did a profile of Pee-wee Herman. This is January 2020, literally weeks before COVID. Pee-wee was planning a 35th anniversary Big Adventure tour where he was going to go around and they were going to show the movie and he was going to do Q&A. And I think we were going to buy tickets. And I remember my dad was going to buy tickets and he had to cancel the whole tour. But in the lead up for this tour, he did interviews about how he wrote a script for a dark Pee-wee Herman reboot that was going to be a new Pee-wee Herman movie, but it was going to be like a more mature adult movie for, you know, the people who grew up with Pee-wee and wanted to see like a new side of Pee-wee Herman, but it would still be Pee-wee. And he was shopping this script. And I remember hearing him talk about this vaguely in other interviews before for years, that we were going to get another dark Pee-wee movie, and it was going to be like a Pee-wee's Playhouse type thing too, but it was going to be for an older audience. And I could not fucking wait. And I mean, we're never going to see it, obviously. He obviously did not make this movie. In this article, it says that, you know, Judd Apatow didn't want to make it with him, even though Judd Apatow made the previous movie with him. Someone else turned it down because they said it didn't feel. I mean, I can't believe. Apparently, in the article too, it said there was a Pee-wee Herman fan from the UK who was going to invest $10 million of his own money into this movie to make it happen. I mean, people fucking loved Pee-wee. It was ridiculous that he couldn't make it. He wasn't able to make it happen. Or maybe he was, and COVID, pushed it back. And then now we know he was fighting cancer for 6 or 7 years. So who knows? I mean, obviously, when he was talking about this Pee-wee comeback in 2020, he knew he had cancer then. That was only 3 years ago. But maybe it really, you know, ramped up in recent years. I mean, obviously, he's no longer with us because of it. But man, what I would, in this article, this is 3 years ago now, more than 3 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, he talks about how shocked and stunned he was to see how he was able to be digitally de-aged in that Judd Apatow Netflix Pee-wee movie that came out in, I think, 2016. and he was so shocked by it that in this article in 2020, he says that he's pretty sure that there'll be a day where actors like him will be obsolete and they'll all just be digitally recreated. I mean,
Yeah, I think he's right. I just think it's gonna be a long ass time.
I don't think he said it in necessarily a good way. I mean, obviously, I
Oh
don't think
no,
he did.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm sure none of these guys want to be replaced. Nobody wants to be replaced. I mean, I would love to be replaced by AI at my job, but only if I get to like keep my and just go have fun and not need for things.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit, Josh.
Yeah, no, and
Hello?
oh, yeah, no, is that better?
Yeah.
Is that any better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to be replaced by AI as long as I get to keep my money that they're paying me and just go have fun. But the influences, like even over stuff like in wrestling or whatever, like Bray Wyatt used Firefly Funhouse.
Oh, yeah,
which
that was. Thank you for bringing that up. That was so obviously Pee-wee's Playhouse inspired, like directly. There was nothing else Bray Wyatt was trying to recreate there. That was Pee-wee's Playhouse. Even the style of some of the puppets were like fucking Billy Baloney, the bully from no, that was Randy. Billy Baloney was his puppet. Randy was the bully. They felt like both Randy and Billy Baloney.
Mm-hmm. And it felt like a little bit of Mr. Rogers mixed in there, but yeah.
Right. I mean, we didn't get enough of it, man. We didn't get. I think there was 45 episodes, not counting the holiday special. Then we got 3 movies, I think, and then 2 versions of the Pee-wee Herman show, the one from the 80s, and then they recorded it again in 2011. I mean, fuck, we didn't get enough of Pee-wee. That's all I have to say. Now, when you look at how long some shows go on, like we got 1,000, 10,000 episodes of Law and Order. Couldn't get fucking 100 Pee-wee Playhouse episodes at least.
Yeah. I mean, those are so cheap to make. The Law and Orders.
I did read though that apparently he wanted to end it after 5 seasons. I had always mistakenly thought that the what he got arrested for in the early 90s while he was in the adult movie theater. I thought that ended Pee-wee. I had not realized till recently that he actually chose to end it prior to this, and the show had been off the air for like a year or two. And I guess some people didn't even realize because they put it right into syndication. They just played the reruns on Saturday mornings for the next year or two after it officially ended.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he chose to end it after 5
seasons.
seasons.
I had too was that he got busted and they were just like, nope, fuck this shit off the air.
That's how I always understood it, but that's not it did derail his career obviously in terms of him moving on from Pee-wee and doing other things after. But Pee-wee's Playhouse ended before that. He according to him, I was reading, after season 5, he felt the quality of the show had dipped a bit, and which I don't think so, but he's the creator, he knows better than me. But he didn't want to continue on if he felt the quality wasn't on the same level it could be. So he called it after 5 seasons in the Christmas special.
I did not know that. That's cool. If you want to, maintain what you think is right for your creation, I think that's pretty cool that you can be like, yeah, this isn't really living up to what I wanted anymore. So, I think I'm gonna go. Unlike Futurama, where they're back for the 4th time or whatever.
I was playing Fortnite and shoot people in Fortnite using them.
I mean, I love Futurama. I absolutely love it. I know you don't get much into the cartoons, even though your old intro to Doomed and the whole being from to Doom thing.
No, I do like animation. It's a very I don't like how a lot of current animation is stylized. I just really don't like it. I like Bob's Burgers. It actually took me a while to get into it, and then I really got into it. I really like Bob's Burgers. I think Simpsons, the older Simpsons stuff is great.
Uh-huh.
There's a few really solid seasons of South Park, like smack dab in the middle of their potty humor early stuff, and then they're not so great past couple of seasons, like the World of Warcraft era. There's a few seasons in that right before the World of Warcraft episode and right after the World of Warcraft episode of South Park that are really solid.
Uh-huh.
There is a Mickey Mouse cartoon that just ended its run on Disney Plus that I was unaware existed. It started in 2013 apparently on like the Disney Channel or something. It is fucking fantastic. They just ended it with a one-off short. It is really well done. I think people are sleeping on it because it's Mickey Mouse and people think of Mickey Mouse as a cornball or whatever. It's honestly, it feels like Mickey Mouse gone Ren and Stimpy. It is really fucking awesome. I think they first called it Mickey Mouse, and then they did a few seasons just calling it that, and then they relaunched it the same style, the same humor as the wonderful, wonderful world of Mickey Mouse. I urge everyone, if you like that weird sort of Ren and Stimpy, early Nickelodeon cartoon era type stuff. This Mickey Mouse thing is people are sleeping on it. People should check it out. It doesn't feel like anything Disney has done, honestly.
Well, and yeah, that whole era of animation felt a lot like sort of a successor or very influenced by, speaking of Ren and Stimpy, by like Pee-wee's Playhouse and all that kind of stuff, where there were a lot of jokes for adults in there or whatever, but it was also like absurd visual humor for kids all
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like a lot of these shows. I mean, listen, there's nothing more classic to me. Like I could watch these over and over again. The fucking early Merry Melody Looney Tune cartoons. They're fucking fantastic. They're so good. They're like you could watch the same one over and over again and laugh over and over. They're really good. As a kid, I was laughing. As an adult watching them with my kids, I was laughing at them. It's like they don't make cartoons like that anymore. I wish I feel like I sound like an old man, but like literally go watch like the fucking like 50s, maybe the 40s, 50s, 60s Looney Tune Merry Melodies before Looney Tunes dropped the Merry Melody brand and just went by Looney Tunes. The Merry Melodies branded Looney Tunes cartoons are the pinnacle of animation, at least American animation in my point of view. I don't think anything's ever touched it.
Yeah, but what's his Bugs Bunny was a drag queen, so you can't watch that. He'd dress up and try to seduce Elmer Fudd or whatever.
If Mel Blanc is voicing the Looney Tunes characters, that's the Looney Tunes you want to watch. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. No, those were really good. And then LeBron ruined them forever with Space Jam 2.
That movie was the weird thing is Space Jam 1 was really good. Like it really was good.
It was surprisingly good.
They
You
dropped
had Bill
the
Murray
whole,
being Bill Murray.
right. They dropped the whole premise in Space Jam 2 for this weird. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, I guess it was fun to sort of see all the like references to all the Warner Brothers properties. Like they had like Game of Thrones characters. The real weird thing was seeing the Droogs from Clockwork Orange watching the Looney Tunes characters play basketball. That was a little bizarre. But Iron Giant, King Kong. I mean, that was fun, I guess, catching the characters. Scooby Doo and the gang. But the story was really bad. Really bad. And I think it was not Looney Tunes quality like Space Jam was. Space Jam was able to really feel like a throwback, and Space Jam 2 did not pull it off.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm not so sure. I didn't think the animated parts of the first one were so good, but I like the all of the side human character stuff with the ridiculous, like, again, Bill Murray, but also like all the basketball players, like really
May,
being willing to show vulnerability and stuff. It was funny.
people in the chat are disagreeing with me saying Space Jam was good. I mean, maybe it was a time thing or an era. I mean, I watched Space Jam 1 with my kids a few months ago, and it held up to me. Maybe it's one of those nostalgia watches for me because, it came out in, 96, right? And I'm 10 years old in 96. So, I mean, probably thought it was fantastic. I don't know what to say. I thought it was great. To each its own, their own, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, someone in chat brought up Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like that.
Oh, of course, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? But that's a different era. Like I'm talking about like something happened in the 90s where all these studios felt they needed to like leave the old animation style behind, and I don't think animated series have felt the same since. Like Nickelodeon, I felt kept the old animation style a little bit longer with like the Rugrats and Hey Arnold and Doug. Animaniacs, yeah. And listen, you want to know what I'm talking. This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Watch Nickelodeon's Doug, and then watch an episode of Disney's Doug after they acquired it. There's a fucking huge change in the animation, and it loses all the heart that the Nickelodeon version had. And it's obviously some of it's story and the writing, but it's just also how it visually looks. And it just looks disgusting and gross. I hate it compared to, and like it's a jump because it's the one show where you actually have both these styles side by side. Like, these other shows, they didn't get acquired by another company later on, and then, you saw them change the style. Like, they usually just petered out. Like, Hey Arnold ended, Rugrats ended, those shows just ended. Ren and Stimpy ended.
And the only one I can think of that definitely changed styles, and you can see it because they're still on, so you can go back and just compare to like early seasons, but it didn't really become jarring. It's just like they kept the same style but improved it, is The Simpsons, where, I mean, of course, season 1 where it's still like the Tracy Ullman show or whatever is completely different.
I mean, changing the art style is different than changing the animation style. Like the art style is just like, obviously as an animator, you hone your craft and you fix things that maybe you didn't have the time or but I'm talking about the animation style, like specifically the method in which the animations are created. They're not drawing them the same way that they and animating them the same way they did in the early to mid 90s is what I'm saying. Like it's a cleaner, more slick, and it just doesn't feel like it has like heart. I don't know how else to explain it.
I don't know if that's when they switched from hand drawn to drawn on using like Illustrator or something like that, or what it is. That I'm not knowledgeable enough about the subject to talk on it. I'm sure you have a lot of artists in your audience, so I'm sure somebody can fill people in.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is that though. I remember reading it somewhere where like over the years they obviously digitized, computers have stepped in and done things. I'm sure that played as a huge role, and I'm sure they go overboard at cleaning it up. There's a lot of bands I like that who like I've been recommended other bands of similar styles, and I go to listen to those bands, and they obviously like they have like a bigger budget or something, and they go into a studio and they play like the style of music I would like, but it sounds so overly produced and clean, and it's just like it's not how it's supposed to sound. It sounds too perfect. That's how I feel some of this animation is. Modern animation. It's too perfect. It's too smooth. It's too clean. It's not meant to feel and look that way.
Yeah, and especially with punk and hardcore and metal to some extent, like there are supposed to be imperfections. That's like the whole point of the style. It's not supposed to be super overproduced, so It can become pretty jarring.
I mean, I
Speaking,
remember. I remember even as a kid, I hated Hanna-Barbera cartoons because the animation was so, wasn't as good as Looney Tunes. Because one thing that always bothered me is they would reuse the backgrounds in Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Like Looney Tunes would. I mean, to me, it was a very obvious difference. Hanna-Barbera cartoons didn't feel like the quality that Looney Tunes cartoons felt. But continue. What were you gonna say?
oh no, I was just gonna say, speaking of punk, have you talked about the anti-flag stuff at all?
I did on the last live stream. We can talk about it again if you'd like, because I don't know if everyone
No,
heard.
I mean, the last thing I saw is that
Oh, I did. Oh no, I
released a
did not talk about
statement.
the. I did not talk about the most recent because they released a statement after. Uh, Not a good statement. Not a good statement. First of all, his statement, just insane statement. Uh, Really bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
The band statement as a whole. Eh, eh. I think it would have been an okay statement coming from most other people, but from them, I think people expected more. I expected a little bit better too. Also, I don't know if they released a statement on their own. I didn't see it from them. I saw it from him, and that statement should not have come through him. I hope they
Yeah.
released it on their own too.
Well, I would assume that they. uh, uh, well, it wouldn't be slander, I guess, or libel or whatever if he had released a statement on their behalf that they had never seen. But there would have to be some sort of. I don't know. There would be some sort of law against that, I would think, claiming that it's a statement on behalf of like the three other people when they never saw it. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I think his statement was really like, I don't know. So even if he didn't do it, like
Oh, people.
his
There's a few
state.
people in the chat who don't know what I'm talking about. I guess they didn't see the last stream. So I think it was like 2 weeks ago. A podcast came out interviewing this woman who had a very detailed experience being sexually assaulted. I mean, really raped by a prominent lead of a political punk band that she looked up to. And she said it happened 10 years ago. She didn't name who it was. It became pretty obvious to a lot of people who listened to the podcast that she was talking about the singer of Anti-Flag, Just Insane. Few hours after this podcast comes out, all of Anti-Flag's social media gets deleted, and they put out a statement on their Patreon page saying that they were ending the Patreon page. The band was ending after 20 plus years or 30 plus years. God, I don't remember how long now. I think it was 30 plus years. Yeah, it had to be 30 plus years. And that was it. Just like that. And we had not heard anything from them since. And then I think it was 3 days ago, Justin Sane put out his own statement. And then the band put out a statement. And he's denying it. The band said they had no idea, but they believe. I don't know if they said the specific story or they just, they believe these stories when they come out. And that's why the band broke up, because they could not continue to be a band who speaks to the ethos that they speak with these allegations out there. I mean, listen, from what I understand, after this woman came out with her story, multiple other stories have come up where I don't think it's gone as far as, maybe there have been, I haven't seen them, but the ones I have seen is that basically he has been behaved very creepily around women for a number of years now. It's apparently from the stories that have come out. From the stories, it always seems like he would do this when he was alone with the person. So it is possible that the band didn't know. I mean, even in the worst story, the one that came out on the podcast, she explicitly said that every encounter she had with him had happened when she was completely alone with him. Like even the encounters where they didn't do anything, it was just like him talking with her. So I mean, I believe the band for saying that, unless someone else comes out and says otherwise. All the bands who were on their record label said they had no idea, and they all immediately cut ties with the record label. It's really bad stuff. And I said this last time. Obviously, the number one thing, the number one concern, the number one issue here are with the women who he did this to, the victims. That the podcast, I listened to it. It's a rough listen. I mean, kudos to that girl for that woman for coming out and sharing her story. I mean, it must have not been easy to share. I mean, this guy really took advantage of her, and violently took advantage of her, all because basically she looked up to him and thought she would have a friendly relationship with one of her, what seemed like to be, from her explaining of it, one of her heroes at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just really, I mean, it's disappointing, especially given their message about all of it in general. Like, throughout the last 30 years or whatever, their messaging has been, so anti all of this. But also just, I mean, it's as a human being, it's just disgusting.
I'm not saying I do anything, obviously, so don't take it that way. But my favorite songs were always the ones that were written by and sung by the bassist, Chris Number Two. I mean, for people who don't know Anti-Flag, they basically had two singers, and obviously there were songs where they sang together, but there were songs that were clearly written by one of them because he would sing most of the songs, and they were most of the parts, and they were so clearly written by the other guy because he would sing the other parts. And in my opinion, the good stuff was by the other guy. But a lot of people would say how the other three members of the band were usually very down to earth when you'd meet them, and the singer of the band sort of seemed like he had an ego or something. I mean, I never really, when I was a kid, when I was like 14, 15, I met them. They were like my favorite band at the time. I mean, they were hugely influential on me. I mean, they were basically like, I would say, if you were getting into punk in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, they were like the entry-level political punk band. And they continued to be, actually, from my understanding of it. Like, they were basically everyone's sort of entry into political punk rock. It sucks that this band that seems to have been so influential on people turned out to be led by an asshole, a horrible person, allegedly.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, like I said, even if he didn't do it, like the way, which he probably did, but the way, he's defending himself is just so out of touch with and out of line with his supposed values and everything else. It's just
right.
that statement.
I don't know what statement you put out with the allegations that are against him, where you're not, I mean, if he came out and said that happened, I don't know if there's any legal statutes, but from her description of it, yeah, he could probably be arrested. It was
true.
not good. But yeah, his statement was fucking really bad.
Yeah. And it's funny. I guess they're a lot of people's entry. I guess I did it backwards. I started with Black Flag and Bad Religion. So I don't know if that was from.
Well,
skating.
they were really melodic. They like basically were singing, harder pop punk songs. But because they were so political, they were, people couldn't consider them that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they were very melodic, very, sort of poppy in terms of like the songs. Yeah, it's unfortunate because don't have any heroes, I guess, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, people know that I have a tattoo of the band's logo on my arm. I'm not getting rid of it because I've never said it was like. I mean, obviously that's where I got the influence from the logo, but I didn't put like the band's name on my arm specifically because I wanted the tattoo to have a deeper meaning, a broader meaning, in terms of being like an anti-war, anti-gun violence logo.
Yeah, and I mean the lesson is, I guess,
It was my
the
first
lesson's
tattoo.
always
When I was 18. I found a tattoo apprentice on I didn't like it makes it sound like I was looking for one, but I was on Craigslist. Damn, I found a lot of shit from Craigslist. I got hired by Sam Cedar on Craigslist. I got my first tattoo off Craigslist. My ferret, I adopted my ferret off Craigslist. I had a ferret from 2005 to 2009. That's my other tattoo. When my ferret died, I got a tattoo on my ear memorializing my ferret. But my first tattoo, I came across someone's a post on Craigslist. They were a tattoo apprentice they were tattooing out of a established tattoo shop. It's not like I went to someone's house, but they were a tattoo apprentice at a tattoo shop looking to do tattoos. I was 18, college student, poor as hell. Wanted my first tattoo because I just turned 18. So I went there. The guy did it. I gave him a tip. I don't remember how much I gave him. Probably not enough, but again, I was poor. And he did it for free. And I was wholly happy with it. And I'm still happy with it. I like the tattoo.
Yeah, no, and it's you agree with the message, not necessarily everything the people do, right? Like I'm not gonna fucking die for.
This is the logo people are asking. There's no band name on it. It's just a logo. It's just a logo. No one knows any better unless they're specifically familiar with the band.
Yeah, yeah, and again, like I'm not dying for Bernie Sanders. So if he, I believe in the cause, not necessarily the people. You can have friends and whatever, but heroes, I don't know. I think if history has proven anything, it's that just everyone's human and everyone's gonna have flaws, and some of them may be acceptable and some of them might not be. And so, like, if you just like that dude's pretty cool, but not hero worship them, then it's not quite as hard to not be disappointed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, then I found out that my other favorite band, the singer, I mean, you guys probably know Leftover Crack.
Misfits.
No, Leftover Crack. The singer was apparently abusive towards his wife, and so I had to stop recommending them for a while, and I stopped wearing the shirts for a while. I mean, it got to a point where these bands are no longer playing music. A huge part of my wardrobe is actually made up of some of these band shirts. I got no choice at some point but to wear some of these shirts sometimes. I mean, I'm not giving them any more money.
Yeah, no, and there's no reason to get rid of it. Like, you already paid. It's not like they're getting any more.
It is weird that the music industry never had its comeuppance, if you think about it. Like so many other industries, from Hollywood to the media, they all had the Me Too movement really affect the industry. I'm not saying they're solved, everything's great, but I feel like there was some sort of significant impact to all these various different media industries, except the music industry. The music industry never had its comeuppance, and you gotta believe that's probably the industry where might have been the worst. I mean, some of these old school rock and roll bands. I mean, some of the allegations I've heard about Aerosmith, and no one's canceling Steven Tyler and Aerosmith.
Yeah, or Motley Crue. Like all of them are basically accused rapists at this point. Guns N' Roses, yeah, like all of those guys, all the old rock bands, and then also, I mean, there was a little bit of a reckoning with some of the producers. The the one that was abusing what's her name? Kesha.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's still working. He's still working.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? These
Yeah,
guys are
I mean, he
These
got
guys are
outed,
absolutely.
but-
These guys don't get canceled. And you know what? If they had a front-facing role and the blowback was big enough, they just become producers. They just secretly write the music, and they still make tons of money.
Yeah. The
The
only
music, the music
only
industry,
one that-
the music industry has not had its come. It's just crazy to me. It's bizarre. It's really weird.
Yeah. The only one that's had any sort of, well, not only, but the biggest one that I've seen is R. Kelly. You know, because the law finally stepped in and did
Yeah,
some
and you
shit
know what?
about that.
That's probably why it's on, because it's on. I'm pretty sure it was on video, right? They have a tape of it, right? Isn't that the case?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and combine that with it being an underage child. I mean, those two things combined. If it was just one and not the other, I bet he would be off scot-free.
Probably. They were trying to make a lot of excuses for him.
And it took a while, right? It was a while before he actually.
Yeah, like 6 or 7 years, I think. She was definitely not underage by the time the trial was done. But
Oh wait, someone says no. The video of the child did not lead to conviction. What was it then? I mean, has the music industry done more serious even about, like, you know, now when there is sex scenes being filmed and stuff, they have a specific person hired to make sure that everything is proper and no one's feels uncomfortable and stuff like that. What is it, like an intimacy coordinator, like someone whose job it is to make sure that everything is on the up and up?
yeah, and each actor or actress can request their own intimacy coordinator.
Right.
So they have done something of a good job there. My sister works,
And some of these, a lot of the actors have been, you ain't gonna ever see Kevin Spacey fucking in Hollywood ever again. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, although there's some issues with intimacy coordinators apparently. Like,
Really?
I don't know, my sister works as a costumer, and apparently, like, there's issues like getting them on set sometimes, or their contract is different than everybody else's. So like people end up working a lot of overtime, so there aren't that many of them, and their availability may not be enough that they're there when they're shooting certain scenes or whatever, and they will still try to pressure people into shooting those scenes because you're holding up the whole production, and all, like 200 people or whatever, if you don't agree to do this scene even though the coordinator's not here.
Right. Tokyo Han says, I've always wondered about sex scenes in movies. Do you really need them? Can't you just show them like they like each other by holding hands or something? Nah, I don't. We can't. No, listen, we can't be prudes. This is art. It's art. And listen, if someone's uncomfortable with it, then you either change the script or the scene, or do it in some way to make them comfortable, or just don't cast that fucking actor or actress in that movie or scene. There are lots of artists who are fine with doing that sort of thing if they agree with the art and how it's done. And yeah, I do think in movies these scenes are necessary if the director or the screenwriter or the creator of this work of art is trying to portray something. I don't think we should be prudes about it, but we should also just respect everybody's boundaries and either A, film something in a way that respects that person's boundaries, or B, find someone to partake in that role or that scene who's fine with doing exactly what the role entails.
Or just hire an ass double.
Yeah, do that too. Yeah, body doubles, right? That's I think that rolls into what I said too in terms of hiring someone who's familiar with that.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I also think Tokyo Han's just outed himself as Tim Cook.
Oh, yeah. Oh wait, I honestly I was so distracted by like talking about by you bringing up the R. Kelly thing that I forgot that, Very Polite Vampire on Twitch and Daredevil on YouTube both said how he lured young girls and isolated them and kept them locked up. We're talking about R. Kelly. He basically had an underage sex slave ring.
Yeah.
I had
that sounds
in our
right.
conversation. I knew about it in the back of my head. I knew about it, but we were talking about and I got so distracted thinking about that tape and how weird that is to not only do that and what a sick person you are to do that with a kid, but then on top of it, fucking videotape it. What a bizarre person.
Yeah, well, that's, Aerosmith, I think one of them was with like a 14-year-old girl, and everybody knew about it. And what's his face fucking wrote songs about banging underage girls. The conservative
Ted Nugent?
Ted Nugent. Yeah. Yeah, his whole thing was that he liked him under the age of 18. He was a creep. He's a creep. I wish I could say he was a creep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well.
But all right,
yeah.
I will
we really ran the gamut here. I appreciate you calling in because I wanted to talk about all those things, and I guess it was easier to talk about with somebody else than just, me randomly bringing it up and crying on air about the loss of Pee-wee Herman. It was a lot easier to do it talking with somebody, so I appreciate it, Josh.
No worries. Have a great week. Enjoy your vacation, and you owe us more shots of the dog.
Oh right, yeah, I will get them.
All right.
Have a good night. Let's go to the next phone call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh right, yeah, I will get them. Hey, you were on the air. Oh, that's all right.
Am I on, Matt?
You are. Yep. Just turn down the volume on the stream because the stream is behind, and then I hear it on the air. And then once you do that, just let me know and answer this question. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay. My name is Perez from Michigan.
Hey, Perez from Michigan. What would you like to talk about?
I would like to talk about probably like a few weeks ago, you were doing one of your podcasts with the leftist mafia, and I had caught like the end of it, and you were with Mike Figueredo. I think it was just the two of you,
right.
And I am the Big Daddy. I'm Bold Action Gamer. Does that sound familiar?
I think so. I think I remember that. Yes.
Okay, so I tried reaching out and calling in. You're a popular guy, so obviously that didn't.
Wait, we don't take calls. We don't take calls on leftist mafia though. So are you thinking about something else, or am I confused?
As now, like I want to say it was like maybe last week or the week prior. I tried calling in, but
to this like when I do my own live stream.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I tried calling into the Majority Report, but I deliver mail for a living, so it's not easy to just like stop what I'm doing to call them.
Right.
So yeah, I opted for just calling you, like I'm available during the evenings. Plus, it's probably easier one-on-one, and I'm kind of intimidated by Sam's intelligence. Like,
oh well, I'm happy I'm stupid enough for you.
That's what I mean. It's just like you're just more grounded. Like there'll be times where he's using like this vocabulary, and because of like where I come from, I'm just like shit. Like, do I just need to like start grade school over again or something? Like he just. Like,
so I think what you
like I understand most.
I think how you want to phrase it for me to make me feel good is I'm more down to earth than Sam.
Yeah, and we're like probably closer.
Do you have a cat, by the way? Because I love the meow. That's a perfect meow. That's like a cartoon-esque meow.
Yeah, he is an orange, an orange one. I want to say
Garfield.
now.
Hello, Garfield.
Yeah, I call him Teddy.
Hey, Teddy.
Yeah, he's a character. Oh, okay. So as I was saying, goodness, I have like just a lot to really express. I wanted to like share this. I wanted to share this story because, like, with someone who like has a good background in like understanding history and politics, because like it would just be nice to like hear like your take on this, because telling like just some person like friend or family member, like it's just not the same. So like you have like a more enlightened perspective on this subject matter. So I'm gonna try to like get this is organized. So I was born in 95, and I was named after Perez is my last name. My first name is very difficult to say, and everyone kind of butchers it, and it's so easy to track me down once like you've heard it, because you've definitely never met someone with this name before. I got it because it was my grandfather's name, and he died at 27 because he drowned in the Rio Grande in the late 70s. So my father lost his father when he was 7. So he, with his younger brother as teenagers, they move on their own. They leave their mother. They come into the United States, make a living like under the table and stuff. Fast forward to my dad in his 20s, and he meets my mom. They get married and have me. And then it was my mother's idea, which is kind of peculiar to me, to name me after my grandfather. That'll make sense later. So fast forward 2 years, I'm like 2 years old. My parents have a divorce. I live in Michigan, and I was raised mostly in Michigan, but I would, for some of my childhood, I was in one city, and then I moved to another one. And then in my teenage years, I moved to my mother and stepfather moved me and themselves to Oregon. So a lot changed. My dad stayed in Michigan, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with Oregon or Michigan, but I'm trying to find the right words here. So in Michigan, like you have like you have white people, and then you have black people, and then you have like everything else, but like you don't see the rest of them as much as you see white people and black people. In Oregon, you don't see a lot of black people, but you do see a lot of people that are Mexican or Hispanic. So I'm a teenager now, and my mom, on her third husband, just isn't really thrilled about this change. Like she's just not happy. Like she doesn't like black people either, but she just really wasn't particularly happy with having to go to the store and seeing brown people. And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that the divorce was kind of rocky. Relationship didn't end very well. Not like most do, but just a little volatile. So you have this situation where I'm 13 in Oregon, and my mom's like in like she's like in her political bubbles. So big fan of like Mark Levin, huge Mark Levin fan. So
Really,
every time,
that's an interesting one. That's I don't think I've ever met a huge Mark Levin fan.
yep. At the time he wasn't on Fox. I don't think he was just some radio host.
Right. I mean, I know there's plenty of people who listen to him, but everyone's favorite is usually like, Rush Limbaugh or one of the other, honestly better, at least more talented in terms of like hosting abilities. But I don't know. I've never met a huge Mark Levin fan. Wow.
I think a lot of it stems from presentation. So like with Rush Limbaugh, you're going to hear like Rush Limbaugh's presentation is much more like guy friendly than woman friendly, whereas like Mark Levin is a little bit like just more casual. Like he's not saying the same things that Rush would, I don't think. Not exactly, like, or maybe not in the exact same words.
So what you're saying is conservatives who love Rush would listen to Mark Levin and consider that guy to be a pussy.
Pretty
He's
much.
not man enough, according to the conservatives. That's why he's okay, I guess, because he's a conservative, but he's not. He ain't Big Daddy Rush.
The difference is talk. I think that's a good way to describe it. Like you wouldn't want to use Rush for like as an example if you're a conservative as like your intelligent spokesperson. You would want someone like who like is presenting themselves a little bit more clean or whatever. But anyways,
The funny thing is, I actually think Rush Limbaugh is probably smarter than all of those conservative intellectual types. The dude knew exactly what he was doing and knew exactly how to get what he wanted, more so than a lot of those dumbass conservative intellectual types.
yeah, not like he had a lot of competition. I mean, they're all pretty appalling. And just one of the things when I watch like the Majority Report is sometimes I can't even watch like some of those like episodes or like chunks of video on YouTube because it's depressing that these people have like an audience. Like I just don't understand like how people think that Michael Knowles is intelligent. Like how can you possibly conceive that?
You know, a lot of people just want to hear something that reinforces their views. I think that's honestly mostly it. And obviously, if you're presenting yourself in a certain way that speaks to that individual, they're hearing what makes them feel good and what they reinforces what they want to hear and what they believe, then I think they you sound smart. You must be smart. You're saying the right things, and you sound good while saying it. So there you go.
Yeah, that is fair. I guess like I'm not sure how to describe it. It's just I don't know. I guess it just annoys me that there's any appeal. Okay. So a good example is like you have Ben Shapiro talking about like, Matt Walsh as well, like masculinity and how important masculinity is. But like when you think about the word masculinity, like those two people I just mentioned are probably not like examples of masculinity. Like there's just nothing like there's just nothing, I guess, like, whining about M&Ms or the Barbie movie. Like, I don't think that's most people's idea of masculine. Like in the circles that I've been in, most people that I've talked to would assume masculinity with like, I don't complain about things. I just like go to work and I go home. Like I take care of myself and I don't whine. Like, so like to have someone like talk about how important masculinity is, but also to talk about like, or just like whine about every single movie or every single athlete, to me is the direct opposite. It's like, how do you even have time for this?
Are you saying
like,
you haven't been enjoying Ben Shapiro's multiple videos on the Barbie movie?
it's just mind-boggling. Like I actually, my sister invited me to watch the Barbie movie this week, so that's in the plan. Like, and even if let's say I didn't like this movie, like I would just say I don't like this movie, and that's it. I'm not about to say.
Right. It's fine to listen. It's fine to be like a cultural critic and to make videos about movies and critique it or whatever. But obviously, that's not what Ben Shapiro's doing. He's taking this as a political move. He's using this to advance his political ideology. He's not using it to critique cinema.
Yeah, and like like it's just not. It's not important. That's also another thing. Like that just annoys me. Like you could talk about like anything. Obviously, as a Republican, like he doesn't give a shit about climate. He doesn't give a shit about like homeless people. Like he doesn't give a shit about veterans. Like he doesn't give a shit about just anything except for like the Barbie movie or Bud Light beer. Like just the most trivial things that no one should give a flying fuck about. I'm gonna get back to my.
Oh yeah, please. I'm sorry for getting you off topic. Go ahead.
All right, so because she's like exposed to like these people and just obviously like she would have developed this opinion on her own, but she decided that like she was gonna be like on this mission, like she was going to like basically try to like educate me and like she was trying to get me to understand that like like she basically like saved me. Like if I was raised by my dad, or if I was raised by like just your average Mexican, like you have a Mexican boy or girl probably raised by Mexican parents. Not the case here. So she basically thought like like I'll be better because like I was raised white, etc. So I was told like all of your common things that you'll hear. So like if we went to the store, if we saw like a brown family with like 3 or 4 kids, first thing I heard from her was like, I can't believe they're coming here and stealing all of our tax dollars. Like they're not even working, they're just like using food stamps, etc. Like just like sucking on the government tit at our expense. And there's obviously some irony there because like I'm not exactly white. I don't have a white name. My grandfather died like trying to get here, etc. So, and then like she was a big fast food person, like many people. So like went to the McDonald's drive-through. If she had any like inkling or sense that like the person on the intercom like was having trouble with their English, like the first thing I'd hear like in the passenger seat was they need to learn our language or go back to where they came from. Just this stuff. A lot of fear mongering about like MS-13. From there, probably like one of her worst offenses was she wanted to intimidate them, like in a subtle way. So she was a big fan of eBay. She bought this pin of an ice badge off of eBay. Not that she had any.
Jeez.
And like she didn't really care for purses, so she used a camera bag as a purse, and she put that little shit on her camera bag. And like we went to the store, like we went thrift shopping, and there's me, the brown kid, next to his white mom with the pin of the ice badge. So, and unfortunately, like as someone with attention deficit and hyperactive disorder, like with like trauma, like just a lot of fucking trauma, I didn't really piece together what was happening like until I was like in my very early 20s, and then I was like, oh fuck, like none of this makes any sense. Like it was all a lie. Like, and my nature is that like she's my mom, like she loves me, like she wouldn't lie to me. Like shit, like what does she have to gain? And here I am. Just those things, like really trying to like beat like that drum or like beat it into my head that like trying to convince me that like this is just how it has to be. We cannot allow these Mexicans to be here. Like besides the fact that they're like their culture is subservient to the American culture, they're like just inferior. They're dirtier. Like they don't understand like our norms. Like they're just trouble. And yeah, it just took its toll on me. So
Right. So what? So do you still? Do you still? When was this happening? Because you left off talking about years back when, like in the 90s and through that, what you went through then, and then as like as a child, and then I'm guessing this experience you're sharing, or the bulk of the experience you're sharing, happened in what the mid 2010s, early 2000s to mid 2010s.
Yep. So yeah, I graduated in 13, so I started 8th grade in Oregon, and so basically 8th grade to my senior year, I was getting like this little education about like how troublesome like Latinos are. Just
and let me make sure I understand. Are you are Latino, right?
Yes. Like my father is Mexican, so
right.
And
she is not, obviously.
No. Oh, okay. Yep. My apologies. I should
have.
No,
you did say he met her here, and
yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean that she's not a Latino or Mexican. But
you're
from where you went with it, I sort of put 2 and 2 together.
Yep. She's Caucasian. Yep. She's basically like German, Irish.
Has she ever circled that square in terms of making sense of the things she said to you while you are also of that, ethnicity?
Like, are you saying like, did she
Like,
ever like?
did she ever, or have you ever brought it up to her in terms of like, you said these things and that's who I am?
No, she lives out of state. She
Has
lives
she
like,
ever said anything to you about you being, that being your background, that being your ethnicity?
um, not a lot. Basically, um, it just somehow like it didn't it wasn't like contradictory to her. Like to her, it just made sense. Like to her, like I'm not really sure how she put two and two together that was like comprehensible. But like these are still beliefs that she holds to this day. So um I guess it was just like bias. Like I'm her son, so like I'm obviously going to be a bit different than your typical Latino. So like I'm not a criminal like all of them are. So, like um
So do you still associate? Do you still associate with her? Do you still have a relationship?
not really. So I've decided to just I know that if I address it, I'm just gonna I'm not gonna like if I speak to her and say like what you did was fucked up, then I'm just gonna tell her that I don't want to ever see her again. Like don't even bother. Like and I'm nice enough to just like not do that right now. She lives in another state, like over 1,000 miles away, and like maybe once every 2 years she visits for like Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I'll say hi. I use work as an excuse to avoid her, which is great for me. My sisters, which I have 5 of, 4 are hers. They can't stand her either, and they are from her first husband, and they don't like her. They want nothing to do with her. They basically do the same thing I do. Like they just put up with her until she goes back to her home state, and then we all celebrate and sing kumbaya and all that. So, no, like I I haven't addressed it with her. I know it's futile. Like she won't change. She will never think she did anything wrong, and I hate conflict. I'm just a pacifist. I hate addressing situations. I'd rather just pretend she doesn't exist. And for like the last like let's see, like probably 6, 7 years, that's been just my go-to. So
Yeah, it's rough. I feel for you, man. That's but it sounds like you came out of it. I'm sure, I don't want to say you came out of it okay, because I'm sure it was not fun and it was very difficult. But from this conversation and the this brief interaction, it seems like you've been able to take your experience and sort of learn from it and grow from it and see what you sort of don't want to see in the world, and that was what she was putting out.
yeah, by my nature, like I don't like to be wrong because it's just like it's not ideal to be wrong. So that like kind of helped me. So I was able to like really soon after like putting some serious distance between the two of us, to just like really get my bearings and to understand like who I am. So as like I understand like my place in this world as like a blue collar schmo. So I'm not like of the idea that conservatives have anything to offer me, especially as someone who's not white. So just like my like desire to like not be wrong, like doing my best to like piece things together, like just helped me, I guess. And I'm having trouble explaining it. I guess okay, so I guess I kind of like looked at it as like she was wrong and she hurt me, like, and I don't want to hurt people. So like I guess like not my desire of not wanting to hurt people like helped me like like tear apart her like indoctrination of me, I guess, if that makes sense. I I was raised Catholic, so when I kind of like, understood like the nature of my childhood and how I was raised, I kind of took life a lot less seriously, and I didn't think that, as they say, like everything happens for a reason, or like God has this like divine wisdom. Like it all seemed like comedy. So atheism kind of saved me in a way as well. Like it just kind of made things a bit more clear. I it took a long time to deprogram. So
I could imagine, right? I appreciate you calling in and sharing that with me. It's important, I think, for people to hear all these different stories in terms of what is she? Let me ask you a few questions if you don't mind. What
many as you want.
did she get into? So she's a Trump supporter. I think you mentioned that, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Did she get into the conspiratorial stuff and QAnon type of things, or yeah?
I don't know if I'd say QAnon, but I mean possibly. I guess it just depends on your perspective. Like she does believe that the election was rigged for sure. Like so, like I think that there are people that like don't like follow QAnon but do believe the election's rigged. Like I don't know if she follows like QAnon. I don't think it's QAnon.
Right.
Like basically like she sees something on Facebook, she's going like where the wind's blowing. So like as soon as like you have your pundits like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, like when their feed pops up on her Facebook feed, like that's like her narrative. So like yeah. She was a very big Dinesh D'Souza fan.
Dinesh D'Souza, right? Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep. So she actually tortured me. Not like physically, but she forced me to watch that Obama 2016 movie.
Oh boy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And luckily,
was it 2000 Mules or something like that? I forgot the name of it. Something
yeah, it
Mules.
Was, yeah, I haven't seen that one. But this like one where it's like basically showing like what Obama's second.
Oh, it's about the Obama one, right? I'm sorry, you said Obama 100 times. What was the name of his Obama movie?
It was called like Obama, or it was called
2016. It was called 2016 Obama's America, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And luckily, at the time, I really liked Call of Duty, so I was just like, can we just go home so I can like play Call of Duty? Like so I wasn't absorbing all the information, but I did absorb some. And I don't remember everything, but it was just a bunch of like Obama's a communist, and clearly he was born in Africa, duh. And like at the end he's like, yeah, I went to prison, like it was a mistake, like whatever. So, she basically at the end of the movie clapped like she was listening to Beethoven for the first time. I'm just, god damn it, like
wow. Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, she's just a character, and oh man. And so many other words I could use, but yeah, just a bunch of that. So she had like those passionate subjects that conservatives do. Like some conservatives are like more like passionate about like the subject of guns or taxes. Like her thing was always immigrants. Like she had other concerns like abortion, but abortion paled like in comparison to immigrants. Like brown people pissed her off more than abortion ever could. She just could not get over it. And yeah, that really fucked me up. Sorry, I'm kind of like deviating, like just
no. I could imagine. I mean,
brain, but
who is she? Do you know who she's all in for this time around? It's still Trump, I guess.
Oh yeah, she's probably not even. What's I don't even know how to explain. She's basically not like politically astute enough to know like every Republican candidate. So like she probably doesn't even know that like Mike Pence is running. Like she probably knows that like he's not his running mate, but he probably doesn't know. Like she probably doesn't know Chris Christie's running. She probably doesn't know who Ramaswamy is. Like is just
She's like a casual fan, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. So she's not even like understanding her own like talking points. It's basically like the slogan. Like she knows the slogan and she's not smart enough to like even
I
understand
mean,
like
it sounds like what you're saying is the exact type of individual I sort of referred to earlier, where they just have these preconceived notions about certain issues and topics. They hear someone say exactly what that is, but they say it in a way that makes them sound smart and intelligent, and that this comes from a place of like, truth and scientific or mathematical backing. And that's the person for them. And it seems like that's the individuals that she likes does that for her. She doesn't really have any sort of like you even just said, any sort of real guiding light of her own in terms of anything else.
yeah. Like in my opinion,
I would assume that is I don't want to say a majority, but I would say that is a significant portion of people in this country. I'm not saying they're all bad or they're all like your mom, but I'm saying that I would say a significant portion of people just have a preconceived notion about something, and that's they go with whoever helps them make it sound like they had the right idea to begin with.
Yeah. And sadly all of it stems from like I think all of it stems from is just the divorce. Like this one Mexican guy pissed her off. My dad's not like my dad's not, I don't know how to explain this. He's not my mom. He like had a tough upbringing, as I explained. He's just not like a reason to. Well, no one's a fucking reason. Not one person is reason to hate an entire race.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. This was a very illuminating call. I think a lot of people will listen to this and maybe not the same exact experience, but feel see bits and pieces of their own life and their own family life and relationships in this with their maybe parents or aunts or uncles or something. And I think you're maybe. I can't speak for exactly again, but you'd be surprised how universal your experience is for some people.
Yeah, I had a couple of reasons, like for calling. The first one was on like behalf of my my grandfather. Like a lot of these stories, like there's just like a ton of names that like just died in the river, in the Rio Grande, like and like people just don't know them. Like so, knowing you and knowing Sam and knowing the Majority Report and David Dole, like all these names that I'm particularly fond of and have known for like the last 3 years, like and having like your you guys like enlightening me into like things that I wasn't aware of. Like I just wanted to make like my grandfather's story and mine known, like because there wasn't probably going to be anyone else to tell it, so I didn't want it to basically fade into obscurity. Like I wanted people to know that like my grandfather like got like a fate that like didn't have to happen. It didn't have to be this way.
Right. Well, you're a young guy. You'll be around to continue to tell these stories.
Yeah. I wanted I guess I just wanted to like have this conversation because I obviously am not going to have this conversation with just anybody. So
well, I appreciate you viewing me in that way. I do. It means a lot. Yeah. I mean, let's actually. I know you said you had other things you wanted to talk about, but I think it actually is better. There's also there's other people on the line too who want to call, but I actually think it's better when we get into really serious, heavy topics like this. I think it's important to like not throw too much at once because you don't want something to get overlooked. What I want you to do is definitely call back in. I stream every week. I'll be happy to take your call each and every time. We could discuss the other things you wanted to discuss. I just, I think that instead of getting into another heavy topic and people not thinking about the story you just told before.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss. I just want to I just want to say this last request. If you could possibly share this with Mike and David. I've been a pretty big fan of their content as well, and I was that was my first time reaching out to you two. Was through like that super chat. So if he remembers me, I'm fond of the three of you guys and the others, like the Surfs. If you could like just let them know like that like a fan of them also like spoke to you, and if they
Oh
would
yeah,
be
for sure.
like if they were willing to like hear my story through this stream, like I would be like absolutely touched if they had the time for it. So
Yeah, you know what? I know they listen to the show. So definitely, I'll let them know too. But it's possible they're already listening to it. Thanks a lot for the call. Please call in again. Have a great night.
all right, you too, Matt. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Man, that was quite the story, and I'm it means a lot that he felt comfortable talking about it with me, sharing it with me, and then all of you too. I'll take a few more calls. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey Matt, it's Graham calling from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Rem, how you doing?
Not good.
Ah,
I had an accident.
what happened? Oh, are you wearing a sling?
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to get outside here. What's going on?
Did you break
There we
something,
go.
fracture something?
I did. I fractured my elbow.
Is that
Um,
the bad news? Is that all? Is that the bad? Is that the entirety of the bad news?
Sadly, no. There's more.
Oh no.
So, I'm out of work for a while,
Oh, because the injury?
and yeah, this job requires two hands. I'm a housekeeper. I clean condos, and I don't think I can make a bed with one hand, you know?
Right.
So,
Are you
uh,
a righty or a lefty?
I'm a righty, so that kind of helps. So this is
It's a little bit
left
better.
hand.
Okay.
I can't
So
I
so you
can't
could
quite
still
extend it anymore.
you could still do things that require one hand.
Of course, of course. I'm trying to look for new jobs now, and then now, of course, I'm having issues with my new roommates. They're upset with me. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not 80 years old. They're not 80, but like, I feel like that's the kind of roommate they want. You know, like this perfectly timid and who follows the rules really well. So it looks like they're not really wanting me
Oh,
to live
can I
here
bring
per
your? I'm
se.
sorry. Can I bring? You want me to bring your video on the feed? I just realized you're not on there,
Sure, no worries.
so everyone could see that nice broken arm of yours.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. Yep, limp rem. Okay, so what was it? I either have to move out now and like I'll get like my rent that I was about to pay because they kind of took me in early because I kind of had nowhere to go. But then they had this room available here in South Austin and was pretty happy. They seemed chill, they seemed cool, um and they're queer themselves. So I thought this place would be great. But we had a roommate meeting last night and it didn't go well. I had been failing to meet their standards. It's been difficult for me lately because I kind of just got injured when I just moved in, and starting tomorrow, I have to, let them keep that money, the rent money, and I'll stay throughout August. But I have to find work soon, or just get another place, or fly out to Portland. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather try and stick it out here, but it's just been difficult. Um, and then now my job, uh, they've changed things at the at like they have like an HQ where we all meet up and clock in and grab our supplies or whatever the condo needs, like resupplying, sheets and towels and stuff. Uh, Apparently we're gonna be like lugging a lot more stuff around, so they really want me to have a car, and that was a requirement when I was hired, but they didn't seem to care at first. They hired me anyway, so that feels I feel kind of trapped in that kind of limbo of like, well, you have to have a car to have this job to drive to these units. You can't carpool with people because their cars are going to be full of laundry. I don't think so. Um, uh, I was talking to Renee about this, and they believe they're downsizing. That's probably true. Um, and then now that they see that I'm hurt and I have to go back in like on the 8th and then talk with them and hopefully I can keep the job. I don't know. I don't know if I can heal that fast. The doc says it's going to be a month or so until until I can, really do things. And it's been kind of difficult to like lift heavy objects. I really fucked up. I was going really fast down a hill on my longboard. I got the wobbles and just, yeah, landed on my left side. So like my rib area is kind of sore and tender. I don't quite feel you know, the fractured bone much. It's mostly my rib. I can't like cough or sneeze. It's been difficult. Um, Luckily the hospital bill wasn't much. It was like $30. That was weird. I didn't expect that with my poor people's insurance. That pretty much anyone can
Are you
get.
on? Are you on? Are
But
you on Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicaid, I'm pretty sure.
I gotta tell you, it's actually really good insurance. It's people, people really don't understand how good I mean, it was the best insurance I had when I was on it in terms of how much I had to pay out of pocket. And
Yeah.
never any issues in terms of like, oh, that's not covered by this, that's not covered by that. Never anything. I mean, that's really, if anyone, I think everyone should spend like a year on Medicare, Medicaid, and they will quickly change their, if they're against universal health care or Medicare for all, they will quickly change their mind.
Right, right. Yeah, there's certain things that you can't do. A lot of things are out of pocket here in Texas. I'm very new to that. My meds are normally like $1 for everything. Like one of the meds is like $1. But back in Washington State, Oregon, and Maryland, the last three states I lived in. I know I've been bouncing around. It's kind of crazy. I rather stop bouncing around and kind of stay put. That'd be nice. And I have been making some friends here, some bands. I've been hanging out with a lot of bands, doing pictures, filming for them. I haven't gotten paid yet, of course. I'm just trying to get out there, and network and stuff. But yeah, I just feel pretty screwed. So I don't know what to do other than to just work extra hard at looking for work and possibly a new place because my new roommate says I'm grading to live with, quote unquote. Not exactly sure what I did. Just got here. Um, uh, they have grievances, and I just feel like it's just part of being roommates. I don't know. I've had so many roommates throughout my life. I've lived with all kinds of people, and I always just deal with it. I don't know why they want this perfect roommate. That doesn't exist. There's always going to be difficulties when you're living with someone. I I swear I'm not imposing too much. I I left a couple of like something in the kitchen. I don't know. Like I don't know. The first several days after my
Well,
accident, I was
some
kind of
people,
out of it.
the thing is, you don't have to go through that with me. I mean, the thing is, sometimes people, will do things like that, particularly to, just find a reason, a fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not actually something wrong. They're just looking for
Right.
something to give them a reason as to why they want to behave in a certain way.
I suspect they're scared of not being able to afford this place if they don't find someone to replace me here. Uh, so I guess it's understandable. I kind of wish they would just say it, just be honest and be open about that instead of kind of hiding behind it and finding ways to get rid of me. And I wanted to do the childish thing and just kind of grab the money and go. But I don't know. I feel like my odds are somewhat the same, and it's kind of a hassle to move like to Portland, and I don't want to burden my friend. They said I could sleep on their couch and stuff, but I don't know. Every time I keep thinking about it longer, I don't want to burden them. It's gonna go wrong or something. I'd rather move when I'm stable and I'm on my feet. And then my roommate said, they're nice, I guess, to me. I mean, I got kind of emotional and pretty hurt when they were saying that I was taking advantage of their kindness. I swear I wasn't. I've been pretty damn grateful to be here. I was very close of not having a place to live um, just a couple of weeks ago. So I wanted to call in like a couple of weeks ago, saying how like I got a place, I have a job, and everything's great, but everything's kind of falling apart. So it's kind of a bummer.
I'm sorry to hear that, Rem. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at least at least it was because of a physical injury in terms of the job thing. and not like something more than that. Like, obviously your arm will heal and you'll be able to get back to work, you know?
Yeah. It's just no one has any um I don't know, the time or the money to just willy-nilly take someone in, or no one has the and no one has to. It's just I don't know. I'm struggling to find some people that will kind of just, help me out a little bit.
Right. Right. Well, Rem, I'm rooting for you. I think you'll be back on you'll be back, and everything will back on your feet, I should say, and everything will be. I think obviously number one is probably once your arm is fixed or healed, I should say. You get to a place where you can stay, where the people aren't, because where you live is obviously, if someone's treating you like crap there, then obviously you're not going to have a very good quality of life in terms of dealing with that every day.
Right. I mean, I'll admit I've been kind of flaky-ish because of just everything that's been happening. I've been trying to decompress, and then I got hurt, so that's been messing with my head a bit, realizing of what I'm unable to do. Um, but yeah, it's just the jobs in general, when they just kind of decide to screw you over. They hire you. Oh, but like you need a car, but you hired me anyway. I've been working just fine. I haven't been late a single day. I'm almost at my 90 days. I'm enjoying it. I like my coworkers. Uh, why do I have to go? Unless I really suck at this job, and of course, sure. But I don't know. I don't know what to do.
All right.
Trying to figure it out.
All right. I hear you, Rem. Well, keep us updated. I hope your arm gets better soon. Did they give you a did they give you like a time period of how long it'll take to heal up?
Well, the doctor seems pretty confident that it's just a crack, and not a huge fracture, or of course not a break. So it shouldn't take as long as I thought. I thought it was going to take like 2 months to heal. But he said, yeah, roughly a month. So, I'm kind of just doing some exercises every day with my arm, but it gets kind of tired. So, and a little uncomfortable. I had something else I wanted to say,
Go
but I
ahead.
don't remember. No, I don't remember. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, call me next week, and we'll catch up then. Take care.
For sure. Take it easy,
All right.
Matt. Thanks.
Bye. All right, folks. Let's see. I'll take one or two more calls. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it is Kowalski.
Hey, Kowalski, what's up?
Well, I wanted to call in to talk about some broader issues, but it seems like everyone's on the track of some personal stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm hearing everybody's personal lives tonight, which is good that people feel comfortable talking to me about that. But sometimes the pressure is on to be a unlicensed therapist, I guess. I don't know. But no, I'm joking, obviously. But I appreciate people calling in and telling me, because it's a good sort of gauge of what's going on with everyday people in this country, and I think that's important to hear from.
Well,
but I'm not joking about the
thankfully-
pressures on sometimes. Sometimes I really struggle with how to respond sometimes because, again, like I said, I'm not really an expert in what to say to that sometimes.
You see, this is why you need cows. Cows don't come to you with problems, and you don't feel bad for not having answers. But instead of you having to, be our, clinical therapist or whatever, I'm going to bring some more existential dread to Doom, since that's what you kind of need. I'm assuming you've heard a little bit about the situation in Ukraine with the grain deal, right?
I have. I've heard it a lot from you, actually. You've been the main update for me on that, honestly.
Alrighty. So just the Russians the grain deal, which means they're no longer going to allow Ukrainian ships to sail into ports like Odessa, get loaded up, and then hit the international markets. So a workaround that Ukraine has found is that they are sending ships via a canal and trains to basically the southwesternmost portion of Ukraine. From there, they can hitch a ride onto the Danube River, where they can either then exit back into the Black Sea through a Romanian port, or, and this is the cool thing, you can sail all the way across Europe on the Danube, take a canal in Germany, and then sail down to Rotterdam in the Netherlands. So Europe is really working hard at trying to get all this grain out, but sadly, a year from now, basically about a quarter of all of Ukrainian grain potential will be lost indefinitely due to the dam being destroyed. Because without that dam, pretty much the entire irrigation system of southern Ukraine will collapse. It doesn't mean you can't make anything, but the area is not exactly known for steady rainfall throughout the summer, so it'll be pretty cataclysmic. And all of this could be avoided if Russia would just go home. So, yeah, I thought I'd put that on your guys' radar because with more food insecurity, the world getting hotter and stuff like that, it's going to be a problem, to say the least. But commodity prices have come down in the last week because Europe has been working really hard at helping Ukraine out on moving this, which just goes to show for calamities, we can, in fact, move mountains if we need to face them. So that should give you a little bit of optimism.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's an interesting state of affairs. Like I can't even. Food is the one thing that I do think that any country should be off limits of targeting, even in like a war scenario, just because like the risk of famine right now in East Africa and the Middle East is horrifyingly high. And basically, if anything goes wrong, you could be looking at like a massive refugee crisis on the scale of like the Syrian war. And I don't think people are talking about it as much as they probably should. But yeah, that's what's been hitting my radar. So I thought I would share it with you and see if you have heard anything about this because I don't know, it just seems like I almost follow some very niche
Well,
news.
who'd you hear this from?
Basically like UN reports, grain reports,
Oh,
Financial Times and that kind of thing.
I'm unfamiliar.
The
I'm
USDA has actually been pretty good at it. But yeah. So once again, if you live in the US, you're safe because, we have the potential to feed 1.1 billion people. If you live in South America, they produce enough food for about a billion people. So the Americas are good. It's everywhere else that isn't good. And that could be a problem. So, yeah, that was pretty much all I had to share. So,
Thanks for the call, Kowalski.
all right, enjoy your vacation.
I thought you were gonna call in to show me some cows or something. I was like, oh, let's end it on this, and then you just bring this news about.
Whoa, 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 whoa. At least I'm not bringing you personal issues that you need to like tell me what I should do to feel, good or to like it,
Well, no,
stuff like
no one's
that.
done that. No, no one's done that on the stream. No one's done that on the
I
stream.
just wanted to bring you all a hopeless situation. We end this thing on a downer so everyone get the full use of their Xanax.
All right. I think after the news earlier about Paul Rubens, this has been a heavier show than I expected. It's way down today. Have a great day,
You know what?
Kowalski.
I
What you gonna
one
say?
thing real quick. I have never seen Pee-wee Herman. I, I I have heard references and stuff, and clearly he's been a cultural influence, but I've never seen the show. And now I probably will because of you. So thank you.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Good
I'm
night.
glad I've been able to do that. Check out the show. It is really good. Take care.
You too.
Bye. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, holy shit. What's up? This is Jim Kettner from the mean streets of Portland, Oregon.
Yes, but wait, it's why is it so bright out there? It's 9 o'clock there, right?
It's the sun is just setting right
It
behind
looks
me.
it honestly looks like it's still like daytime, like the sky is blue. I was like, where are you calling? Are you from Europe or
This
what's
is
going on?
this is the end of the golden hour dog walk. That's
Ah. Oh,
that's totally me, the
you're in
dog.
the shadows now, but I see
Oh,
him. You got
oh,
a
sorry.
Scottish Terrier there?
He's a mini schnow, but he
Okay.
gets that sometimes. Uh, but yeah, dude, there's
Okay.
some
Oh,
heavy
wait.
fucking
I
calls.
just realized that. Hold on. I just realized I didn't pull you up on the stream. You got to show everyone your dog. Hold on. Let me pull him up. Pull you up on the
Oh,
stream. Show everybody the dog.
that's Tortellini.
That's a cute dog. That's a cute dog.
Yeah,
I love it.
he's pretty cool. Hey, saying hi? You're on the
Hey,
internet now,
buddy.
Torty.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, man. Anyway, long time listener, first time caller. I sent you a super chat like a week or two ago because I'm also an old NYC straight edge kid.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, it was weird. I wanted to call in just to talk about Pee-wee Herman because I'm a giant nerd. And then obviously your last few calls were hitting on much more serious and important stuff. But yeah, Pee-wee's like a fucking culture icon and sort of, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting, or like a really cool transgressive artist who kind of modeled masculinity in like a fun, playful, joyful way for, I mean, I'm a bit older than you. I'm 45, But
You're
sort of growing
45.
up in-
Damn, I thought I looked young for 36. Damn, I thought you were my age or younger.
dude, young till I die.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. It's that clean living and riding my bike everywhere. You know, I don't know. Being punk pays off sometimes.
Well,
Rarely.
yeah, it depends what punk scene you were in, honestly.
It's
also the direction in which you look. You could have ended up looking about 10, 20 years older than you.
Older, indeed. I know those folks too. I know you were talking about leftover crack earlier, and I was getting nightmare twinges. Like Sturgeon once peed on my leg. I was friends with a guy who, yeah, like not intentionally, like. He was peeing on the street next to a car, and I was in the back seat, and I was getting out, and I'm like, oh, great. So I've got some leftover crack pee on my leg. Totally dignified NYC bullshit. Anyway, no, I was like heartened when I saw that one of my, favorite left tube political people was like a giant Pee-wee Herman nerd, honestly. That's what had me want to call in, grieve together, appreciate.
I like that. I appreciate you calling in. Yeah, I mean, it's what's interesting is it seems like there's a lot of overlap between various different artists, entertainers, works of art, sort of subcultures. And it seems like they all sort of, intertwine and have the same fans. And I mean, I saw some of my favorite pro wrestlers mourning Pee-wee Herman's loss, and it's clear that those guys overlap in those other communities too that I'm talking about. I mean, it's Pee-wee was punk. I mean, Pee-wee was punk.
Pee-wee was definitely punk. I mean, there's a great. I saw one of the clips getting shared around was from Pee-wee's Playhouse with him and Lawrence Fishburne pogoing together. And Lawrence Fishburne famously was also punk when he was a kid. So there's a clip from Pee-wee's Playhouse where they put on like mohawk wigs and pogo on like a green screen.
I remember that.
In front of like a bunch of kids slam dancing.
I remember even as a kid, me looking at that and being like, "Oh shit, oh cool."
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I think of, and it wasn't until I was much older that I sort of could fully put it in context with the other art and music that I was getting into as I was getting older. But, people like Pee-wee Herman and, John Waters and Kids in the Hall and, I know, like even like Ren and Stimpy, there was this vibe of like people who were boomers, but they were like recontextualizing their childhoods in like a postmodern, self-aware, kitschy way, and then like regurgitating it for, I'm not an old millennial, I'm a baby Gen Xer, but like, that sort of crossover time. And so basically the view of Americana, I guess, of that classic America was always really seen through these like transgressive filters of these performance artists. I get, someone like Paul Rubens, I think of like Pee-wee Herman is in that movie Back to the Beach. Do you remember that one?
Back to the Beach? No, I don't.
Okay, so you should look this up. It also has a punk crossover. It is.
Oh, is this Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello? Right. Okay. Because they appeared in episodes of Pee-wee
in the holiday special.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
They were in the holiday special. Famously, one of my favorite parts of the holiday special, where he just keeps like putting them in the corner. It's like, no, you have to do your chore.
Right.
But
he has them. Basically, he has them doing all the work for him to make the house more holiday, and he's forcing them to do arts and crafts. Right.
yeah, they're like making like the gingerbread men and stuff like that, and they really want to just enjoy the party, and he's like, no.
And it's not even. He's not even just having them. He's not even just having them do like arts and crafts for themselves. He's having them mass produce the arts and crafts. Right.
Yeah, they're like fully like they're his workforce, you know.
Right.
But no, but like Back to the Beach. So it was like a total like boomer throwback to like one of the classic like 50s and 60s beach movies. But like in this one, like Frankie and Annette, they have like a teenage kid who's like a punk who like doesn't understand his parents. And then there's a concert on the beach, and Pee-wee Herman shows up, and then he flies away on like a rocketing surfboard. So it's worth it just to look up for this kind of surreal, you know, surreal bit of lost pop art. But yeah, man, just I don't usually shed a tear, and much like with the conversation around the anti-flag guy, it's like no heroes is a really good philosophy. Good Converge song. You know, just
There's also a great New York hardcore band, Kill Your Idols. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen Kill Your Idols many times. They used to open every show. They
Right.
were always one of the opening bands. But geez Louise, dude. Yeah, but like Pee-wee like kind of snuck through, where I sort of feel like he's one of those folks who I mean, aside from his obvious porn theater, you know, scandal, like he was I had been following him on Instagram for the past few years, and the guy just consistently put out really joyful, wholesome, like playful like content where it just seemed, you know, it really is interesting to find out that he had been dealing with cancer for the past few years. And you know, he seems like the type of person who maybe would have been posting this stuff anyway, but I'm gonna
No,
miss
I sort of got the idea that he would be a guy that would deal with everything very privately. I don't know. I wasn't like,
right.
Like it wasn't shocking to me that, because I mean, if you think about it, we you know, you rarely heard about him unless he wanted you to hear about him. Like he wasn't like out there regularly.
Yeah, no, his, you know, and he might not have been posting everything. It could have been, you know, he has his people or whatever, but just the stuff he was putting out was consistently just very, very cute and warm and good. And it just made me feel more positive about having followed him through his career. And
if you look at all the people posting, all these celebrities from the 80s and 90s, from cult classic actors to major stars, I have not seen a single negative thing, and not even just like not a negative thing. I've not seen a single person not be able to gush about a specific experience they had with him that was just like unforgettably good.
Yeah, he just, what the kids say now, he was a real one. He was a real one, Paul Rubens.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
So yeah. Anyway, just my thoughts are just with everyone who loved the guy and like loved his art, and you know, I hope that he doesn't get recreated by AI as some gross dystopian simulacrum. But I also hope that, you know, future generations will find this weird kids show that it's like, how the fuck did this get on the air? That something that could be so like I was saying, like transgressive, queer-coded, interesting, wink and a nudge to adults in the crowd, while also just being a really sincere, genuine bit of art for kids. It's totally worth following like some of the other related artists too. To like, I know it's Wayne White designed a lot of the puppets and stuff in Pee-wee's Playhouse. So there's still like other cool associated creators that if you're a fan of this stuff and you want to like dig into the lore and the other people who were still sort of making art in that realm, worth looking up and you know, appreciating these folks while they're still around. I'm with you. I had heard those stories about that he had two movies, and one aimed at kids and one as a more adult movie. And I'm like, oh God, if only that, you know, I wish that movie could have been made. You know, I kick myself because I was still living on the East Coast when he was doing those shows in New York in like 2010, 2011. And I'm like, oh, I didn't go. What a kicking myself. So it's definitely one of those things where you never know when folks are going to drop off, and appreciate these folks
Right.
while they're
I mean, he was supposed to have that, like I said, that 35th anniversary tour, and he was going to come to Radio City, I think, and show Big Adventure and do a Q&A, and it never happened because of COVID. And I was, it did. I haven't thought about it in a while, but I did think probably right after, maybe like in like late 2020, early 2021, I was probably like. I did at least think once, like, is he going to reschedule it? Because nothing came out of it. I wonder,
Yeah.
I did see Netflix posted a clip of him doing an interview in a documentary episodic show that they were doing, and he gave it in 2022, and the clip was great. He was fantastic in the clip, but I noticed that they're filming him off an he had to call in, and they had the camera filming the iPhone of his video. And I wonder if he just couldn't make it, because he seemed like one of those guys who was just like, I want to do it from home, period. So it could have been that, but I also wonder if he just was not healthy enough to do it, like to travel.
Right.
But,
I saw him pop up in another. It's. I mean, I totally respect. I respect his choice, and it's interesting when these folks want to keep it private, and that he was able to, even as his illness was getting worse and progressing, he was making people smile, like on the daily, which is like, I mean, we should all hope for that, So, R.I.P. or au revoir, Pee-wee, as that was Simone in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Au revoir, Pee-wee, au revoir.
Right. It was.
Anyways, dude.
Oh my God. The sheer amount of things you could quote, it's unbelievable, from Pee-wee's Playhouse, from the Pee-wee movies. Thanks for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your walk with the dog. Please call in again. This was fantastic.
Dude, absolutely.
Have a great night.
Yeah. Peace. Have a good night.
Bye. Yeah, it is really interesting to me how the overlap in so many of these, seemingly separate, but I guess the one thing that really brings them together is they are all alternative subcultures, whether it's comedy, sports, music. I'm talking about punk, pro wrestling, the alt comedy. I'll take one more call. Let's see. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey Matt, it's Anne from the UK.
Hey Anne, how are you? What was it to talk about?
Oh, I just wanted to say that you could show the Binder coin emotes on screen.
Right. I'm glad you called in. I almost totally forgot. I downloaded them and everything. Here's the two options. These are awesome.
Well, I sent you 3 different versions.
Oh, 3 different versions.
I mainly wanted to know which one you actually like. There's a version where I didn't use the WWE font, which I love
the WWE font. I don't think it works for the coin.
Yeah, it's just because on like the small resolution versions, the non-WWE one is easier to read.
Can we try one more, where instead of just MB, because if it's called Binder coin, can we get Binder in total? I know it's going to be smaller. Maybe it could wrap around the coin. I don't know. You're the artist. I'm just giving.
It would not be visible on the emotes.
Okay. All right.
So
don't worry about it.
That.
Right. Okay. Just wanted to throw out a suggestion.
Because particularly on YouTube, you have 24 by 24 pixels. You cannot get pretty much any text in that space.
Actually, this would look good just sitting in the corner. Jeez, I mean, that looks. For like geez, that looks. Wait, no, that's not the one. That looks great. It's like, damn. That's a professional. You want to create a whole stream layout for me?
I can make a stream layout for you if you want.
Really? If only if you want to. I don't want to.
You'd have to give advice of how you wanted it to look. But...
I mean, what you got going right there, I think that's awesome. It looks super professional. I didn't even think of it that way, but it looks exactly like those things.
It was literally, I tried doing a 2D version really lazily. Didn't like how it looked and went, I can do this in 3D. And then Tony was offering to do it for me, and I was like, I haven't used Blender pretty much since I downloaded it, so I'm actually going to bother and try and learn how to do it in Blender quickly. And then like rendered it in Blender.
You threw this together from an app, software you just downloaded to figure out? This is fantastic.
I technically downloaded it years ago, but I've only used it like twice ever. So
I mean, jeez. That's really you're good. You're good, by the way. You got talent.
Oh, thank you.
Just in case you didn't know. Just in case you didn't know.
It was I knew how to do the like outline gimmick in 3D because I learned how they did it in Super Smash Brothers.
Wait,
So I
what?
decided to copy the tactic.
Like, wait,
Oh,
you knew how they wait, I don't get what you're saying. You knew how they did it from the video game? What do you mean?
that in Smash Brothers, for Mr. Game & Watch, he has an outline around him. And
But how did you know how to do it? That's what I'm not getting.
Oh, because I have previously done some 3D stuff in university.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like you like loaded up the game and like stole some code.
Oh no. It's to do with 3D objects. You have things called surface normals, which determine like which way a surface is facing, and basically, provided you have like it set to if they're facing away from the camera, you don't draw them. You just do like a larger version of the objects with all of the surface normals facing inwards. So like the ones that are behind the object face towards the camera, and the ones in front of the object face away from the camera so aren't drawn. And that's basically how you do the like outline effects. Also, I will say, when you're saying young people like SpongeBob, me and my sister are like late 20s and we grew up with SpongeBob, so it's not necessarily all extremely young people.
No. I don't. No. I said the opposite actually. Young kids, like my kids did not get into SpongeBob when they were. I mean, they're 4 and 8. The 8-year-old watches it sometimes, but they did not get into it too much when they were younger. I like you know how there's like the cartoons that like are like all cartoons. Not all cartoons for kids are for the full range of kids. Like there are kids who are too young for some cartoons. Like Animaniacs isn't gonna keep a 3-year-old's attention. It's not for them. They want Paw Patrol and that type of stuff. So that's what I was saying. SpongeBob is for kids, but there's an age range that's too young for SpongeBob.
Also,
I mean, I remember. What was that?
So you're just very quickly on the comments of cartoons looking a bit too smooth these days.
Oh yeah, please.
The reason they look smooth is for the same reason a lot of my emotes look quite smooth, which is they tend to render them as vectors these days.
Is that it?
Which is mainly because they can like change the shapes and enlarge and move them without it like losing visual fidelity as such. Which is why it looks too clean as such.
I think it looks fine for like a computer graphic, but for like a story like telling, I don't think it works. Do you know what I mean?
There is a couple of Cartoon Network shows, but one I remember, which unfortunately was one that Warner Brothers, in their infinite wisdom, quote unquote, decided to remove for tax reasons. But there was a series called OKKO by the husband of the creator of Steven Universe, which deliberately tried to do like this sketchy chalk-ish looking outlines from Yoshi's Island on like the animation to try and make it look more stylized. Cartoon Network did a load of really cool animations in the past decade or so. Like there's so many really good shows that I would recommend that even some adults watch in some cases, because like Infinity Train honestly is like something that would have been a good film but probably no one's ever going to watch. I think it was pulled from streaming for tax reasons. I'm not sure if it ever came back, but it was a really good show. Um, there was also for people who like stuff like The Simpsons, there's a Cartoon Network show called The Amazing World of Gumball, which is basically like if you took The Simpsons and made it surreal, and every character's like some very weird non-human thing, and there's usually a load of weird humor about like the fact there's like a family of balloon people and just the weirdness of their existence and various other things. But yeah, it's a very Cartoon Network's done a load of weird cartoons and stuff. I think there's been like a wave of kind of more interesting storytelling and stuff in cartoons in recent years. Yes, I'm a weird cartoon fan. Anyway, yeah, if you do want some random art assets, just ask. Also, I hear you don't have any Twitch mods.
I guess I don't. I thought I did, but I don't think I do actually.
I can send you my Twitch username if you want to make me a mod on there as well as
Yes,
YouTube.
please go ahead, and I will make you a
Because
mod.
it's
Absolutely.
different from my YouTube one.
Yes, send it to me over Skype. Perfect. Thank you.
There you go. It's just because someone was apparently being racist in Twitch chat earlier, and I thought I'd mention.
I'm not gonna let that slide. All right, thank you. Let me fix this.
No.
Twitch usually has more stringent rules than YouTube, from what I've seen. So I'm surprised that got through, but I guess it does.
Well, I think they can get away with it for a while, but I like things don't auto filter because it's impossible to auto filter without catching a load of things that shouldn't have been auto filtered usually. So I get why they don't auto filter, but it's also just like people get away with the most like transparently just openly racist and bigoted rubbish on so many sites and things, I think. But yeah. Yeah, that was pretty much everything I was gonna say. I mainly just wanted to know which of the Binder coins you liked so I could send Tony specifically the version you liked most.
I think the one with the logo looks best. The scratch logo.
Okay.
The other one looks better for a coin, but I think if we're gonna use it for more than just that, I think it looks good like with that logo.
It's the one I already sent to Tony, so
perfect.
One step ahead.
Hell
Will
yeah!
apparently be in your scam economy intro in the future.
Nice, I love it. Thank you so much. It's really every time you send something, I really appreciate it, and it's wonderful. You're really talented.
So sorry for sending my many minions to harass you.
No, please. You know how I am. I get distracted very easily, so I don't mind it at all. Helps keep me in line sometimes.
Oh, the Twitch chat keeps moaning about not having any.
Oh, I gotta upload the emotes there. Yes, you're right. See, I'm all over the place. I'm terrible. I'm gonna get you Twitch people all the emotes. Just give me
specifically Pondero Supine, or however you pronounce their name, was like moaning about it earlier in chat. And I keep seeing them complaining about it like almost every stream when people use the emotes and they see me talking because they know I made the emote or most of the emotes.
I will get you the emotes, anyway. Everybody. No, everybody, I will get you the emotes on. First of all, I'm gonna upload more emotes to YouTube, and then I'm also gonna upload all those emotes to Twitch in time for the next stream. Okay? Does that work with everybody? I hope so, because that's what's happening. Daredevil says, just give Matt Binder 1 year to get to it. Right. Time is of the essence here.
You definitely need to do the just one more cool emote though, because how often that's relevant is just ridiculous.
Right.
On your streams.
Right.
Anyway.
All right, and have a great night or day. It's what? Jeez, it's early morning for you, right?
It's 5:30 a.m.
Jeez, did you wake up? Do you wake up early to listen to this, or do you stay up late to listen to this?
I stay up late, and honestly, I probably shouldn't be because I'm waiting for calls. But unfortunately, my sleep pattern's messed up. So.
All right, go to bed. Go to bed. I'm gonna end it right now. Go to bed. Have a great night.
Night.
And always a pleasure. All right, everyone. Let me. Oh, I got a few things to do. I don't think there'll be time for any more calls. I've gone more than 3 hours now. Patreon.com/Matt Binder to support this show with a monthly subscription. Let me shout out the people who subscribed since the last episode. Where are we here? Jeremy W, Joe M, and Emily F. Thank you so much for subscribing over at patreon.com/Matt Binder. I shouted out all the people who became members before today, but there are people who became members today over at youtube.com/Matt Binder. Thank you to Tokyo Hans for the 10 membership gifted membership, excuse me. Jen, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. And Colt Dog, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Over on Twitch, Ponderosapine resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. They've been subscribed for 19 months. See how I pronounced it this time? Dear Matt Binder, I'm too lazy to call in right now, and the wildfire smoke is making my asthma act up. So instead of wasting it on the first 500 characters of the Navy SEAL copy pasta, I'm going to use my 19-month sub-anniversary to tell you that you're making an obvious alias, use loudly crying face emojis and the YouTube so-called chat, but not uploading those dope Twitch emotes. Anyway, rest in peace, Paul Rubens, gone but not forgotten. Thank you, Ponderosa Pine, or Peen. Amuse Mob cheered 1 bit. Hey, Matt, I talked to ConkyBot 3000, and he said the secret word for Thursday is leftist. Remember to bring it up on Leftist Mafia. Oh, I'm not going to be on Leftist Mafia this week. Oh, that would have been a great time to talk about Pee-wee, but we're going to have to talk. I'm going to bring Pee-wee up next Thursday. I don't care. Oh, that's too bad. I'm upset. We're not going to talk about. Oh. Vegan Stallion resubscribe with Prime subscriber for 2 months. I used Bezos money twice. All right, thank you so much, everybody. And there's 2 or 3 super chats. Kowalski with a super chat. AI Pee-wee Herman is coming just to spite Matt. It better not. If they want to do something with Pee-wee, I'm all for it, as long as it follows Paul Rubens' wishes, whatever they may be. If he left any wishes, if he didn't leave any wishes, do not do anything with Pee-wee. But unless Pee-wee specifically said use AI, unless Paul Rubens specifically said use AI. Oh God, I hope he didn't. I don't think he did. Do not use AI. Robbie Barclay with a super chat. How are your AirPods holding up this week? I had to swap them out twice, one at a time. Spartacus with a Spazticus with a $10 super chat. Hey, can anyone share Matt's email address? I don't see it under his about tab. Cheers all. Matt, M-A-T-T, @ X, as in Elon Musk's social media platform. Matt, M-A-T-T, another X.com. So Matt at xmattx.com. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about all the stuff with Musk. I'm gonna do a overarching episode when we get back on that. Maybe not the next episode, but we'll get to it. Didn't make sense to talk about today, honestly. Bolt Action Gamer with a super chat. Thanks again, Matt. No, thank you. The great story that you shared. Not great as in the content, but I mean, you shared a very important story with everybody, I think. We need to listen to each other more often. I mean, everyone as a whole. Get a better idea of where everybody's coming from, honestly. All right. Who should I raid over on Twitch? Who's on right now? Actual Jake. That's someone I haven't raided in a while. I'll raid Actual Jake. Let's see what they're talking about. Sure, let's do it. totally not confusing email, Binder, says Lanzetta. I'm going to probably roll out a easier to remember email, more professional email. That's like my personal email. Wanda with a super chat. Matt, we will miss you on Leftist Mafia. Enjoy your trip. Thank you so much, Wanda. I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to raid Actual Jake. I will see you all next time, everyone. Enjoy. The rest of your week, and have a great night.